Hey, everybody, welcome to Real Life Sci-Fi with Wade and Willie. This is Wade.
Willie.
Oh, I'm supposed to say I'm Wade. I'm Wade. Sorry. This is a podcast about the paranormal and contemporary mythology. Join us on patreon.com/real life sci-fi for access to 2 bonus episodes a week, video feeds, and more. Visit reallifesci-fi.show for all of our links. And so, yeah, we're talking to Mickey Munday. Dude, I feel like I'm screaming. I should stop screaming.
My real name is Michael O. Munday, and I tell people my friends call me Mickey, so please call me Mickey. When I'm in trouble, when people start saying Michael.
Okay. Okay. Well, do you go by Cocaine Cowboy? Should I say Cocaine Cowboy?
I
Or
get called that because people don't know my name. Recognize the Cocaine Cowboy. And, and the other thing, if you think about it, my name is Michael O. Munday. And when I was young, I had red hair. I'm really a redhead. And 2 seconds out in the sun and I sunburned. So
uh-huh.
I got called, how many nicknames are there for Michael? And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then freckles. And I was tall and skinny. So with the red hair, I looked like a pencil with an eraser on top. And what really made it worse, if you think about it, my initials spell mom. So I got called everything. So you could just go, hey, and I turn around, and then when I got old enough to run into women, I got called shithead a lot too. So
Sure, yeah.
for that one too. So an asshole, I'm just about any name will go. So I don't mind whatever you call me. I have been called that before.
We'll stick with Mickey then.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
would you
I know you wrote a
say,
book.
yeah,
Like
would you
how?
say you're a writer? You're also speaking, right? Don't you have a speaking engagement? So would you call yourself a speaker? Like, what would you say? What's your title?
As to what I like to do,
Sure.
is,
Yeah.
are we into talking about women here? No, I talk too much. I have a whole bunch of spoken word that we have recorded. One of them was called Tall Tales, Mickey Munday. You guys will be interested in one of those stories on there. You can get it on Amazon or iTunes.
So wait, so do you play a bongo drum and I don't
No,
really know what spoken word. I don't really. I
spoken
always
word
thought it was a
stories,
cat.
people tell stories instead of, there's a lot of actors who actually will read the book to you. They call it spoken word. You're recording it, a really good spoken word story like the Tall Tales today. By the way, it was nominated for a Grammy. So uh,
Congratulations.
Sweet.
the person who talked me into doing it is an incredibly talented person. And what he did was he put a soundtrack to it. So I might tell a really good story. He made them awesome by doing the soundtrack.
Cool.
It's like listening to a 1930s radio show where
Yeah,
they
radio play. Sure,
like
sure.
when somebody knocks on the door, or the horses in the background, or radio noise, or
Yeah, yeah.
up, you can hear the actually, thumping and bumping. So you have to see it here instead of here.
The guy, yeah. What was the old Opry? What am I thinking? When they would get out and do all those radio plays. It's like a famous
The most
country.
famous that most people of your age might know about, and if you don't, it's fun to listen to, is the one that Orson Welles, famous actor, in 1937 or something like that, this was long before TV, people would turn into the radio stations, and they were all AM, so they have a whole lot of range on the stations and, of course, the affiliates. And what they did is they had a regular program, and people turned into it late, and they didn't know what was happening, and they thought it was real. And the program was War of the Worlds. I'm sure you've seen the movie.
The amazing Tom Cruise movie.
Written by H.G. Wells, not to be confused with Orson Welles. And the thing that's really neat about the story, if you ever look at War of the Worlds or read it, it was written in like 1895 before there were airplanes. So this writer has flying objects in it before there were airplanes, and housing was supposedly invaded from Mars. And
I'm crossing my fingers.
it was made as a movie back in the 50s. And then later on, Tom Cruise redid the movie. I like the movie that was made back in the 50s, even though I'm a Tom Cruise fan. They kind of changed it up a little bit. But it's a really, really, really story. So you can imagine if you took to the radio.
I was going to say Grand Ole Opry. That's what I was trying to think of.
They changed what Orson Welles did. He had the alien craft landing in New Jersey. The original story was written in England. They were landing there. But in Orson Welles' version, they were landing in New Jersey, and these things were shooting rays. Think about it. We now call it, think about the rays that we have now with lasers and stuff like that. He was way ahead of everybody in the science fiction. And literally, they were having a war of worlds. People were leaving New Jersey. And the way they did the show, the original show, they made it like it was, you were listening to music, and then they would interrupt the show, the music that you were listening to a news flash about things in New Jersey, and then the havoc that they were raising. And then we'd go back to regular programming, and the regular programming would be back to music. And then they would come in and interrupt it again with more, and people thought it was real. It ended up being congressional meetings or whatever, investigations. And it actually, Orson Welles was already an incredible voice and went on to be an even bigger and better out into film.
Should we, do you just want to jump into the WOW scale?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Mickey. WOW scale. Here's how the WOW scale works. It's a 5-question quiz. At the end of the quiz, I'll give you a score anywhere between 0 and 5. If you're more of a 0, you're more of a Wade. If you're more of a 5, you're more of a Willie. You ready to be Wade on the WOW scale? Okay, ready. Here we go. All right, first question, 3-parter. Do you believe in aliens? If so, have they visited Earth? If so, have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
No.
All right, nice and easy. Well, that makes this interesting.
I believe that there has to be, we'll call them aliens, but your universe is so big, the distance is so long, and the time to travel. There could have been an incredible civilization literally 3 billion years ago, and it's gone. Their star blew up, their history. It would be like digging up something from the Incas or the ancient Egyptians. Yeah, they were here, but they're gone. So do I think something has visited us in the last, like you said, 300 years?
Yeah.
I believe that the odds of finding life out there when you have literally trillions of stars and billions of galaxies, and there's got to be some that are in the, as they call it, the Goldilocks zone, like the Earth is, where everything is just right and things happen. Yeah. That
makes this next question pretty interesting, because the next question is, do you believe disclosure will happen? So if you don't think they've visited, and there are these things right now about disclosure happening, Trump releasing images and stuff. What do you think that stuff is?
When you get through with your questions, I will tell you a UFO story.
I know. We want to get to it. Okay, so this one I'll just skip. All right. Ghosts. Thoughts on ghosts? You believe in ghosts?
No.
Bigfoot. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
No.
Okay.
Do you equate Bigfoot to the skunk ape, and you don't believe in that either?
I put them in the same category.
Yeah.
We have pretty much covered everything there is on this planet that's above the water. There's so much ocean and so much down there that we haven't figured it out. It would be pretty hard for something that big to hide, especially where people are saying they're running around the mountains of the desert or out here in the swamp or what have you. I've spent a lot of time out in the bushes and weeds, the swamp or the forest. There's some big creatures out there that, first look, you might think it might be something, but no, I don't think we got something running around out there we'll call it's a hairy, intelligent, tall thing that's with big feet. No.
I'm kind of curious what you think is under the water now.
But we haven't had any skunk apes coming up from the trenches off of
Right.
south of Jamaica, where we have something that's coming up from the big rip that's down there on the bottom of the ocean. So there are so many things that every once in a while floats up that ended up dying and floats up on shore, and you go, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And you look at them, and some of the things from way down puts almost anybody's imagination of what some kind of alien creature would look like. It's scary. But then when you look at it close, you can realize why their anatomy is like that to be able to survive in the environment they have, which would go back to your original question about something out there, an alien. There are so many different forms here of life on Earth that from one extreme to the other, how does this thing survive with that much pressure on them, living 20,000 or 25,000 feet underwater? Well, there are a lot of planets that would have that kind of pressure on them just from the weight of their atmosphere, not
Sure.
it would be liquid. So yeah, something could survive. Doesn't mean it's intelligent and making some kind of ship to travel around the universe, but I'm saying there's something there to live. But going back to your skunk ape, no.
Okay, last question. Was 9/11 an inside job?
No.
So you're more of a Wade. I'm going to put you at like a 1. You could be a 0. You're basically we're in alignment. It's me and you. It's me and you versus Willie tonight. So let's
a little to both here. I'm saying it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. You're open to it.
Conspiracy off of the 9/11 thing, when you're saying the 9/11, it's like you're saying it's a conspiracy other than the people that actually did it, which was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
People are saying it was an inside job. It was, some demolition knocked those buildings down. Well, if you've ever watched a big building come down with demolition, you're looking at tons of explosive. And how the hell would you get that into a building, into a place where people not see you it would take a crew years to do that.
Willie, you want to take this one?
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into it. Like the loose quick thing is that they were redoing one of the elevator shafts for a month before, but that's a whole nother topic. So
that building was built differently.
This is my favorite about
steel on the outside and an elevator shaft. Most buildings go up from, like you're saying, the elevator shaft is like the backbone, the structure of a building hangs from that. Those two buildings there were designed totally different, a really unique way, a really incredible way to build a building, the way it was designed.
To not come
But let's get to your UFO story. So Willie, hit us with the topic.
Tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi, our guest tonight is the last living Cocaine Cowboy, and he has a UFO story to share with us. We'll get into his story tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi. So have you been following any of the UFO drops that they're doing? Because listen, you don't believe aliens are visiting us. The Fermi paradox, they're too far away. They're not driving here. So when they show you these crafts and these videos that they're releasing, do you think that they're just secret military stuff? What do you think they're releasing to the public?
If you ever notice, almost every time you see one of these stories, whatever the object is, it's out over the ocean or the desert or in the mountains somewhere. It's in a place where there's usually not very many people. So the way I look at it, you got somebody doing something he wasn't supposed to do, or they didn't want people to see it, and they ended up being seen. I have a story that goes that way, and I can understand how people very easily can confuse what they see because you have no idea of the actual object how big it is or how small it is. When you see a jet fly by and it could literally be 2, 3, 4 miles from you, but you know how big that jet is, even though when you're looking up at it in the sky, it only looks like it's about an inch long when it's actually over 200 feet long. So,
Yeah.
and when you're looking at it, it's probably going, if you see it like here in Miami, they're leaving the local airport, it's probably 300, 400 mile an hour. It isn't up to cruise speed yet. So you're looking at something, let's say it's going 300 mile an hour, and ideally it's just barely moving across your view. So you have no idea because you're not up close enough to see it go by. You know, it's like going to a NASCAR race. When you get down and close and you see this thing go by, and that was only 200 miles an hour. You have a perspective of what it is. And there are a lot of things that are natural that you might see, a natural event that could very easily be confused because you didn't know what the hell it was. And it can be explained away. I'm not going to say that everything can be explained, but I'm betting you somewhere along the line it is, because the story I have for a long, long time, they said there was no explanation for it. And it turned out to be me. So, or actually a friend of mine that I happened to be there. Most people know what I used to do. I would fly south, pick up contraband, and bring it back. And for a while there, we were throwing it out the door to a boat, and then the boat would actually be the one that would bring it home, we might say. The story goes, what we would do is we would, two pilots, pilot and co-pilot, and we would take 3 or 4 girls. We called them cover girls because they actually were very, very attractive women. In fact, one of them was a penthouse centerfold, and 2 of them were really Playboy bunnies working at the club, not in the magazine. Very attractive women. They were the diversion. You would fly from Boca Raton Airport to a place called Georgetown, which is about 80 or 90 miles south of Nassau. Nassau is 185 miles away. Clear customs there and fill the airplane up. Now, the 2 guys flying are dressed like they're charter pilots. The epaulette with the bars, the hat with the scrambled eggs, the white shirt with the tie and the pants. And the girls are there to have a good time and do supposedly a photo shoot in the Bahamas. You would clear customs and fill the airplane full of gas.
Wait. Time out. You said a hat with scrambled eggs. What's the scrambled eggs?
That's you ever seen the hat with all the gold on the hat? The
Okay.
scrambled eggs.
That's great.
The color of an egg. Anyway, then fly from there over to a place called Long Island, and there's a resort there that's called Stella Mars. It's a really, really nice place. It's run by Germans. I don't know how they get away with that because almost everything else in Bahamas is run by Bahamians. And there's an airport there with nothing on the airport. I believe it's an old World War II airport. Fly in there, go to the little hotel there, and the girls check in and they immediately start partying. And nobody's looking at my ugly ass or whoever the pilot is, and the co-pilot. And the co-pilot and pilot, they take the little room, little efficiency, and the girls have the suite, and they raise hell. The next morning, the pilots get up, dress in their uniform, and leave. And nobody thinks anything of it. And it's like coming to this country. Once you've cleared in, you can go anywhere you want in this country. Well, by fueling in Georgetown, I now have almost 300 miles of topped off gas tank closer to Colombia. That's one of the reasons why we would do this. When the guys are flying south, they take off all the extra gas tanks and the radio equipment that had been hidden behind the bulkhead in the back, which the Bahamians never looked at because nothing comes from the U.S. contraband. If it was coming the other way, they might look. Change your uniform, fly south, pick up the contraband, come back at night. In the meantime, a boat or 2 boats, most of the time it'd be 1. And there is an island that's just north of Long Island in the Bahamas called Conception Island. What's really unique about it is one of the few islands in the Bahamas that has no shallow water behind it. Like, we'll give you Nassau. One side is 5,000 feet deep, and for 100 miles south of that, it's only 20 feet. This basically, if you dried up the ocean, will look like a cone mountain on the bottom of the water. It has really, really nice anchorage on the north side and really nice anchorage for a small boat on the south side. And I call it a Bahamian mountain in the middle that's like 50 feet high. There's a marker light on it. Days of old, God only knows how many boats ran into it because there's no marker. There's nobody living there because there's no water. All right, the boat's going to be there. The airplane would come and they would make an airdrop. Product is in a duffel bag. I'm sorry to be getting into the details, but sometimes the detail is it.
No,
Yeah.
this is all
It's
great.
great.
There would be 20 or more duffel bags. On them would be taped silos. You know what a silo is?
No.
Okay, you ever been to a party, you crack the stick, shake it, and it glows in the dark? That's chemical luminescent, silum. They were originally
Okay.
equipped with the military for lighting. It doesn't make any heat. Fishermen use them for fishing really deep. Now you see them as party with necklaces and all
Yeah,
kinds.
glow sticks.
So the duffel bags are all waterproofed. The airplane to fly south, to be able to communicate that far, you can't do it with your regular radio because the world is round. So you use what they call HF radio. You're going to get a lesson here. That's under 30 megahertz is considered HF. And the thing about a radio is the most important part of a radio is your antenna. You could have a $10,000 radio and $100 antenna, you ain't got shit. But you could have a really nice antenna and a crystal radio and talk around the world. That is the most important. And your radio antenna has to be tuned to the frequency you're on. I think it's 457. I'm not sure of the number. And you divide it by the megahertz and it'll give you in feet the length of your antenna. You have a cell phone. That's at 900 to 1100 megahertz. Divide 900 into 450. What do you get?
Half.
1/2. Okay. If you have your cell phone, that's what I just gave you, 900 megs. Remember you used to pull the little antenna up? It's like 3 inches.
Yeah.
How long is that? A half a foot. Your new cell phone, the antenna is actually in the frame of the antenna. Okay. A CB radio, ever seen it? It's like 7.5 foot tall antenna. That's actually a halfway because you divide 28, that's where a CB is at, approximately 28 megahertz. I'm hoping people don't check me up perfectly on these numbers. It comes out about 15. So it's a halfway the antenna. I'm giving you the links so that you'll know what we're talking about. So if you wanted to talk down there on 4 megahertz, you're going to have an antenna that's over 100 feet long. Do not confuse on an antenna the mast. The antenna could literally be that big. But the mast is 100 feet or 1,000 feet tall because the world is round. The higher the antenna, the further it can reach. So you don't want to look like you are talking around the world. So a lot of the HF radios on an airplane would be from the top of the cab to the tail out to the wing, but it wouldn't be tuned perfectly. So what we would do is put an antenna in the tail of the airplane hooked to like a miniature reel, rod and reel, and the antenna's on a 025 stainless steel wire, and the reel has a motor drive that you could wind it back in. A little 1/4 inch hole with a rubber grommet in the actual tail of the airplane. Sorry to get into all these details. And I would tie, once we would go out and hook it up, pull the wire out just a little, put it through the little, it's a funnel about that big. It's meant for perfume. Tie a knot in it and it's cone shaped so that as you're going forward, the wind that of the airplane would pull the antenna out if you release the brake on the reel. Tune the antenna to whatever length you want it, out to over 300 feet.
Wow.
So you talk and be tuned perfectly. Now I've given you what's happening. So this particular evening, we get to Conception, and there's a boat on the north side of the island. No, it's there. Can I see the mast when I went around it? It's called a windjammer. It's a cruise boat. I don't even think they're in business anymore, but it was like a honeymoon boat. They could take 5 or 10 couples on this boat, And they would stop at places like Conception Island where there's no people there, but it's incredibly beautiful, romantic. They would actually stop at little ports, and not just the major ones like Nassau and Freeport, but little islands. A great place to go hopping if you were on your honeymoon. At night, there's all kinds of little places on the boat. The crew doesn't go up there, so I'm thinking there's been a lot of babies made on this boat. And if you've ever been to the Bahamas or anywhere out in the middle of nowhere, it's beautiful at night. There's no light pollution. You can see everything. And if there's any meteors or anything like that, it's unbelievable. And like 2 hours after sunset to 2 hours before sunrise, you can still see the satellites. And now, God only knows, there's thousands of them up there.
Oh gosh. Couldn't imagine what it would look like out there. Yeah.
And you might confuse them today with it would look like you're getting invaded. I think Musk, Elon has got probably what 4,000 or 5,000 satellites up there now, and they're
Probably,
down
yeah.
low. Anyway, he's on the north side of the island, and it's one of those nights where there's so much humidity. If you walk outside for like 20 minutes, your shoulders are wet. It's not raining. It's just super humid, kind of like overcast. So it's not really pretty outside. I'm thinking there's not going to be much traffic on this boat to see us. And he's on the other side of the island. He's a good half-mile away. So my guy calls me up early, the pilot in the plane. I'm in the boat. And he tells me that he has Elmo with him. Now I'm thinking they brought somebody back from Colombia, and that guy's going to get a surprise when he gets handed a parachute when we throw him out. I'll pick him up in the water, but he ain't landing in my airplane if he's coming from Colombia, not at the airport. And I tell the pilot, what the hell's wrong with you? Elmo. He goes, no, St. Elmo. St. Elmo's fire. What it is, the reason I've gotten into all this detail, it had to have scared the shit out of sailors of old. Today we know what it is. Whenever you're moving anything, just my hand is making electricity. It's so small amounts, you don't see it. But a boat moving through this particular kind of weather, and all the rigging on a boat would glow like a sight. If you were on a boat and didn't know this 200 years ago or 1,000 years ago, it'd probably scare the hell out of you, thinking either God's blessing you or cursing you. Or because nobody had lights a long time ago, because the only way you got light was a fire. You're not going to have a fire at night on your boat. You would look over a half-mile away and you would think it was a ghost ship. There's your ghost going by, because it would be glowing in the dark. Scare the hell out of you, because all the rigging, all your ropes, maybe even the sail has a little bit of the tint to it, and it doesn't hurt anything. And it could be there in the daytime, but you don't see it because there's so much daylight. So this particular night, he told me he's got Elmo. I've been in the airplane where it's happened before. And what it does, if you have a propeller-driven airplane, the tips of your props will glow like you got a neon light. And got to think about it. These guys are trying to be stealth, no lights. So you have this 7-foot or more hula hoop glowing in the dark on your right side, and on the port side you have another one. And you're trying to be stealth. I tell the guy, wait, loiter. He's got enough fuel to fly to 8 o'clock in the morning, because he's not going to land the airplane until 7 in the morning. He's got plenty of fuel, and he's early. So what he did was he flew up and down Long Island. It gets its name because it's a long, skinny island, and what we call a racetrack pattern, down, left turn, coming back, miles. And I waited about an hour and a half. And I figured it's now late enough, and the weather has not really gotten any better, and there'll be nobody up on the deck of this boat. Even if they were, if you keep it down low, he's not going to see anything. I tell him to come see me. And when he gets to me, I went, holy, because not only is the propellers glowing in the dark, but the 150-foot long antenna out the back of the airplane is glowing bright green, like a neon, like the Cylon colors I'm telling you. And I'm going to go, because I know the size of it, I'm going to say the glow is maybe because of the weather, the moisture in the air, like 8-10 feet in diameter. It's glowing that much. Of course, it's brighter in the middle and it gets dimmer as it gets out.
Yeah, like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So I tell him, keep it down low, give it to me. And when you do this, what you do is you put out a water bottle with no water. Use it, and put xylems in it so that you can put them down, one here, one there, so that he's flying into the wind. So he lines himself up on that, and he comes by and drops off five. Bang, 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 bang. Comes back around, five, right alongside of that, until you get him off. You pick them up as quick as you can. He flies away, doesn't go far, and he gives you a count. When you're loading it, you can't keep count. He gives you a count. Let's say it's 20. Then you recount the packages, and then you tell him to go. Now he goes way away and cleans himself up, gets rid of all the stuff, changes his clothing all again, dry shaves. So he's going to land at 7 in the morning, and they're just going to think he came from another island in the Bahamas. Well, when he flies away, he flies out to the north, and I tell him to get rid of the goddamn antenna. And that's real easy. You just push the button, and the wind just pulls it right on out to over 250, 300 feet, glowing in the dark. And as soon as it's separated from the airplane, the propeller lights went out, but the antenna is still glowing, and it went into the water. I'm going to give you, got to remember, this is a nice night. The seas might have been 1 to 2 feet. So can you hear this? See this? I'm dropping it. Can you hear it? No. And he had to be at least a half a mile from the boat and the island. Everything went fine. We loaded everything up, forgot all about that. We go to Staniel Cay, spend the night, the rest of the night and the day, go fishing and diving, and drive on up to Nassau. When you get to Nassau, everybody is talking about the UFO that's flying up and down Long Island at thousands of miles an hour. He's probably only going 100, 120 mile an hour, save fuel, and to make no noise. And it's making no noise. Gee. Of course, somebody saw it, got everybody out, so normally you would think 1 or 2 might have seen it. Probably half the people on Long Island, which is not a whole lot of people, but a lot of people saw it. And it wasn't a bunch of drunks. It would be people that could actually, when they say, yeah, I saw this, and people might believe them. And then, of course, somebody happened to be on the deck of the Windjammer and got everybody up on the deck. And remember the little duffel bags coming out that are glowing green?
Yeah.
Dropping eggs. And when he went away and flew away, they low power setting, 120 mile an hour. You're not going to hear it. You got to remember, you got waves coming up on your boat, and the little, I'll call it the white noise that's around anything that's on the ocean. You don't hear anything unless you're really putting the power to it. And what they said, it was thousands of miles an hour, hundreds of feet long. And when it dove into the water, they could hear the water boil. Remember that piece of paper I dropped? That's how loud it would be. It drove into the water. How fast would that piece of wire be going? Not even 100, because the wind would slow it down. But it hit the water, it glowed all the way down till it got to water. So what I'm getting at is people kind of exaggerate a little bit, just a little. So all the people are trying to explain it. They're saying the UFO was using Conception Island as a navigation because it's such a unique piece of property in the water, away from things. Okay, think about it. If you came trillions of miles, you're gonna need a rock in the middle of the Bahamas to navigate off of? Come on, give me real. That story went on for years and years until I recorded it on Tall Tales. So what I like to say, if you see a UFO, you're watching a smuggler.
Well, Willie, you see them all the time, man.
Yeah. First off, great story. That's awesome. Yeah. My thing is, yeah, I see UFOs all the time, but I never try to explain what they are because, yeah, I can't tell the distance. I can't tell how big the thing is, what it's doing. And so I just try to take video and take note. But yeah, as soon as someone is explaining, well, and saying that from your story, you're going to 1 to 200 miles an hour, but somebody perceiving that distance being bigger from being on the ground.
You don't know how big or small it is.
Yeah.
The plane itself has like a 44, 48 foot, I forget what it is, wingspan. It's a huge object. Again, when you don't know what it is, your perspective is wrong. You could see a bird flying, a seagull, or we'll make it a little bigger, something like a pelican flying, and then it's 100 yards away from you, but it's the same size as that Boeing 747 that's 4 miles away from you because of your perspective.
Yeah, I've definitely tried to perceive that and identify shit like that where it's just like, no, this is a bird. You can't see the wings, but you see the light reflecting on off the belly of this bird. And
My brother was a flight attendant forever, and they call them foo balls. They run into a static charge on the airplane. You see them sometimes for people that filmed out the window. There's something flying. It's an electrical charge. And he said, once you get used to it, he said, I've just seen them coming down the aisle of the airplane that looks like a ball of fire. And when it goes by you, your hair stands up. Well, me, that would be, because the people that work the plane know what the hell it is. They don't even think anything of it. It scares the hell out of the passengers. If you saw in the vortex off the end of the wing of the airplane, some kind of electrical discharge out there from, like I said, we'll call it St. Elmo's, it would scare the shit out of it. And it'd be the classic round shape, or it might be distorted into where it's aerodynamic because of the speed that is the air that it's going through. So there's all different kinds of ways to explain it. I'm not saying I can explain them all. I'm betting you it's something weather-wise, man-made. Somebody's testing something they're not supposed to do.
yeah,
They want to be seen. I can't imagine some of the stealth airplanes, although the first time I saw the B-2 bomber, that's the loudest airplane I've ever heard.
oh, really? That's
And
crazy.
electronically, you can't see it. That some bitch is close. Oh my God.
That's funny because I've seen the latest three stealth fighters. They flew over a football game I was at one time, and you couldn't tell where they were coming from. They were just running quiet, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that they actually ran quiet. I thought it was all
But
electrical."
you got to remember they wanted you to see him because you're at some kind of celebration. So the guy probably picked up speed before he gets to, let's say you're at the stadium, and once he gets close, he pulls the throttle back. He still has the speed to keep him flying. And when he goes over the top of you, there's no noise.
That's
You're not
funny.
sure. And he's going to be going slow. If he was doing something militarily, he's going to have that thing balls to the wall.
That's funny. I do want to point out that. So yeah, you were a cocaine cowboy. You've paid your dues. Got the coolest nickname in the business, the MacGyver of Miami. It's cool to hear you talk about these techno. Basically the reason why you guys were so successful is because you were using technology way ahead of anybody else trying to find you. That's just impressive to me. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it's funny to hear even just the St. Elmo's fire on the antenna. That's pretty awesome.
I'm impressed with almost all the things that are happening aerodynamically. I mean, all these little drones, we're all going to have maybe not me because I'm so damn old, but you guys are going to be flying in a car. One of a better word, it's a drone. And they're already there. They're already there. And the thing that you have to be looking for is you do not in the future want to buy a house with an apex roof. You don't want this. You don't want a flat roof so you'll have a place to land your drone.
Ah,
It takes up the same amount of room as two cars.
that's interesting. Yeah, I assume that most of the things that I see are just secret military, and I also assume that most of the, because a lot of the even UFO sightings are around military bases. I feel like there's the technologically advanced spy shit going on today. They don't even talk about what anybody else could be using against us because we're using it against them. I definitely think that there are intelligent beings running around here also, but I think most of the shit we see is people that aren't using the stealth like the, I don't want to even say aliens, but yeah.
Let's look at the technology that we have. They can spy on you from a satellite that's 250 miles up, which, by the way, is real low for a satellite. I think the space station is like 325, 350 miles up. Okay. The low thing, satellites. the electronics. Look what you can do with your phone. And when you Google Earth, you can get down to where you can actually see people walking around. Can you imagine what the military has?
Oh yeah, I mean Google Earth. That all came from military. They finally released it to us,
But
the
I'm
higher
saying
version
that's
of
what
it.
they give us. Can you imagine what they really have? They can, I'm sure the proverbial read your license tag. I really,
Yeah.
if you were really an alien and didn't want to be seen, if you had the technology to go literally trillions of miles, think of it. Voyager, I think it was launched in 1977, almost 50 years ago, 49, 50 years ago. That is the furthest thing away from Earth. And it's really nowhere on the
It
scheme of things.
I think it just left our solar system within the last 5 years.
The outer, I think of the helisphere is what they call it, is where
Yeah.
it's now. And you're looking at 16 billion miles away. If you wanted to make a phone call to the closest star, which is a binary star, so they know there's nobody there because there's no Goldilocks zone for any kind of life. If you were there and I called you, I would make the phone call, go, hey, you wouldn't hear it for 4 years at 186,000 miles per second. Was when they say light years, the reason why they say light years, nobody can say it. Let's think about that. 186,000 miles per second. So you multiply that times 60, that gives you 1 minute. And then multiply that times 60 to give you 1 hour, and multiply that by 24 to give you 1 day, and then you multiply that by 365. So the number is, I'm beyond the screen. That's why it's so easy to say light years. So when you're talking about things, it's 4 light years there for you to hear me when I called you, and I won't hear you answer me for 4 years. So I would go, hi. I would have to hang on the phone 8 years to hear you say, hi, Mickey. So when you're talking about something that's traveling, and according to Einstein, so far he's been right on, nothing goes faster than the speed of light. Now, maybe we'll get into trying to help you here, is if you could fold like a piece of paper, instead of using a straight line from here to here, figure out how to fold this. So for here to here touched, but nobody's been able to come up. I'll just give you wild science on that. Is your distance is so far away, even at the speed of light. And think about it. Voyager has only gone, it takes 1 day, 24 hours for it to be able to talk to us. And it sends a signal, it takes 24 hours. And this vehicle, with our science, has been going for 50 years.
Yeah.
Understand the time doesn't work. The science on that. I'm not saying it isn't there. The possibility of for life way beyond what we can or what we could do has got to be there. But I don't see it running around other than trying to get from here distance-wise to Venus or Mars or some little asteroid that's running out of. We got one coming, by the way, 2029. I hope I'm here to see it. Apophis. Remember that name. You know
Yeah,
what
I like the ones that you could see with your naked eye. The last few where you needed binoculars, I've seen one out of the last like five.
when Apophis comes back by, it's already been by. When it comes back in 29, it will be between us and the moon. So it will be, the moon is 235,000 miles. So astronomically, distance-wise, anything in between that is really close.
Yeah.
And Apophis, by the way, is the Egyptian name for the god of darkness. It's a giant snake that eats Ra every night. Ra is the sun god. That's how they explain day and night. Apophis. What a great name for a nightclub. The god of darkness. Would that be a nice one?
And
Oh
not
yeah.
not ominous at all for an object plummeting through space.
It's one of those that objects that, did away with the dinosaurs. This maybe if it hit, it would take out, cities, but it's
Yeah,
not.
anytime it's in between us and the moon, like you can't predict that it's not going to crash into us,
When they found it the first time, by the way, it's getting harder to find things, because now that you have 10,000 literally satellites up there, when they looking for something to move, they take a picture of, and then they take a picture again, and if something moved, you'll be able to see it. When you're looking at something that's literally a billion miles away, it might only have moved a quarter inch, and they have computers. Well, now you can't tell because you have all these satellites that are messing up. If you look at a time-lapse picture, that's how they do it. They can see. Well, now the time-lapse picture is nothing but streaks because of all the satellites.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty scary because I forget what it's called, but there's just basically so much space junk that we're not going to be able to leave Earth anyways without just getting our.
There's still a whole lot of room up there. There's a lot of stuff up there, and they're smart enough, like the one that Elon Musk put up. When they don't work anymore, it's easy for them to come apart, and they aren't really gigantic. Like some of the satellites, like the space station, that the International Space, that thing's pretty big. That thing is it looks like Chuck E. Cheese with a little compartment over here, a little compartment over here. I get upset when you look at what they should have done space travel-wise, which they're back to now with all the Elon Musk, Bezos, and all the satellite systems they're putting up there. They've gone back to the old tried and true, a rocket with a package on top. Not the worst thing that NASA ever did, and they were usually on top of everything, was the space shuttle. It was a death trap, and it was a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
What they did is every ounce takes hundreds of pounds of fuel. And they took something the size of a 727 into space and brought it back. They shouldn't have done that. And when it came back, it was a fighting rock. It didn't even have a motor. I'll give you a scenario. I'm sorry if we're getting off the subject here. What if you took, here's an analogy. Are you familiar with the geography of South Florida?
Not really. I mean, I get the panhandle, but.
Okay, well, good. You know what a geosynchronous orbit is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 22,300 miles up. If you watch your satellite TV, it has to be in a geosynchronous orbit. From your point of view, it never moves. It takes 24 hours to make one revolution. Every object in space has a geo, more than one, at certain distance because of their mass. I'm sorry if you get into the science, but 22,300 miles. If you wanted to send with the shuttle up there, they would send it up. It could only go like 350 miles. It couldn't go any higher. If it did higher, it was into an elliptical orbit, down low, up high. So you had the time be up high at the right spot. They would get up there, open the bay, take the satellite out, and send it on its way, let's say, to Geo. Well, that would be like taking a tractor trailer, putting your refrigerator in it, and go from Miami to Pompano, which is 20 miles. You're going to ship this refrigerator to New York, 1,200 miles away. That's what it would be equivalent to. You put the thing into orbit and you take it. The tractor trailer goes 20 miles, unloads it. Divide 20 into 1,200. That's the distance. That's the analogy. When you put it into real mileage, they only went that far and sent it the rest of the way on a skateboard. The space shuttle was junk. So what would happen if you took a rocket, like the old rockets, you put the thing on top, not on the side, they bolted an airplane to a fuel tank, compressed hydrogen and oxygen, and then they bolted rockets to the side of it, bolting rockets to the side of a fuel tank. And then they made the fuel tank, which made sense, real thin, because every ounce counts. So even if they'd made it a half-inch thick, it wouldn't have made a difference, because when the solid fuel rocket leaked out the side, it burned a hole in a pressurized fuel tank. Gee, I wonder what happens. And your rocket is on the side, not up here. Fuel tank could have blown up. Up here might have survived. So let's use it as a tractor trailer. What would happen if you built a space plane, something the size of a Learjet, that has rocket motors and jet motors? That way you can fly in the atmosphere. Okay, and you bolt it to the top, and you take, we'll call it a container, like a container that a tractor trailer would have, but only we're going to make it round. And you bolt your solid fuel rockets to it and send that son of a bitch up there. And when you get it up there, you unload whatever you had and you leave the container and you come home in your little space plane. And you could land at any airport. The shuttle could only land at 5 airports in the whole world and the desert, because anywhere out there was the airport. And it needed 15,000 feet.
Yeah.
But there was only 5 airports in the world to handle it. Miami International's got one of the biggest airports with 13,500 feet. They couldn't even come in there. So you leave this thing off. And let's say, going back to the paper, you made it so you could take this corner off. Okay, take this piece off, and because it bolted, and you bolt it over there, and you end up, I'm sorry, it'll be a little bigger than this because you bolt to that shape, and you bolt it and 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 bolt it, you leaving all the containers up, and now you have a big wheel. You don't have Chuck E. Cheese as your space station, where you got little tubes that you have to go to the next one. And the whole thing can be covered in solar panels and have little jet engines on the rocket engines, sort of thing. And you spin it. And have you ever seen a sci-fi show where the space station is spinning?
Sure.
Yeah, all of them.
I remember watching Disney long before you were born when they had the war criminal Werner von Braun on Disney. And they had the round space station. And when you spin it, what do you get?
Artificial gravity.
Centrifugal force makes what you call artificial gravity. It's like going on that ride at the circus where they spin you and you're stuck to the wall. So now you could have a drink, a real toilet. You don't have to have a suction cup on your ass when you try to take a poop. Okay? That's what they have to do. All those things. And you left it up there and you came home in the space plane. And you could land anywhere. And it wouldn't have cost them any more money. Probably cheaper. And they still haven't done that. And Werner von Braun showed you how to do that back in the middle 50s. So what would that be? 45? Looking at like 70 years ago?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got off the subject.
No.
By the way, I was told to keep my mouth shut. I talk too much. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out how you would even do that at this point, though, right? Like, do you think it's just like the sunk cost kind of fallacy of just like, well, we've already got the space station up there.
I think we should be on the moon. I really think we need to send somebody to Mars. I'm all for the space. Everything we're right now is all because of this program.
The space shuttle program killed the rockets.
What they did is they wanted something that was reusable.
Yeah.
Whoever was doing this, thinking the economy wise, what they did for the entire length of the shuttle program was how many times it was supposed to have been used in the first year. So it never did what it was supposed to do. And building a space plane would not have been hard. In other words, making it like a shuttle, only big enough for, let's say, 8 people.
I think that their biggest problem was that the biggest contributor to NASA was secret military. So they were just launching satellites, secret payloads all the time, and they just kept with that system.
The shuttle didn't go off enough to do what you're talking about. Yeah, they might have had packages on it for the military, but the regular rockets were sending up all the satellites that the military had for spying on things. And now they're going up everywhere, left and right. So I mean, I've been interested in the space program because I can remember when the Russians, this is how old I am, I was 12 when they put Sputnik up. I cut out of the paper all the articles, and when the Redstone and the Vanguard and all that went up, and down in South Miami, it's still there. You can go down there. There's a hole in the ground, and there's still the rocket in the ground when Aerojet General had the competition for what Mr. Kennedy said. 1963, he gave a speech that said, we're going to the moon this decade. Well, this decade, 2 years are already gone. So he's talking about in less than 8 years, we're going to the moon. And today that doesn't sound like much, but it had only been 5 years since a Russian put something up this big.
Yeah.
So what he was talking about was unbelievable. I wish, by the way, we would get a politician, to take a senator or a president and go, this decade, we're going to cure cancer. And I don't give a damn what it costs. And when we cure it, we're going to give it to everybody. And what are you going to find, like on the space program, on the way there? You're going to find out how to get rid of Parkinson's and all the other things. Well, the same thing happened with the space program. What Mr. Kennedy did pushed everything. So that's why we have this, because it takes a ton of fuel to get the old radio up there. Well, now the radio is this big, okay, with a computer in it. There's more computer on your cell phone than there was going to the moon. So all of that comes about because of the space program. And technology keeps right on going. All your metals and your plastics and this screen that we're looking at right now, talking to one another, all because of the space program. It's awesome. I can't imagine what Werner von Braun would be doing today. Oh my God.
Yeah, right.
But if you think about it, all the rockets that we use, the Chinese did it, what, 800 years ago? It's the same principle for the rockets that you see going up on July 4th here that they built, God only knows how many years ago. It's the same thermodynamic. You might have changed the shape of the actual where the fire takes place, because you're going to change a fuel into heat, which makes kinetic energy. No, don't get me going, because I'll give you the science behind it all.
In the realm of like spy technology, we have first off, we have different countries all getting to the moon. China's on the moon now. Everybody's in space. What do you think is the next, I would say, purpose in space? You think they're going to be mining the moon, mining asteroids? What do you think the next, or a space base on the moon, or?
I don't see them bringing any, we'll call it, ore back from any of these things. What they'll be going to the moon, if they're looking for anything, they'll be looking for something that they can turn into a fuel or oxygen or water that's there, not grabbing something there and bringing it back. I'm sure they'll bring samples back, but they're going to have to find some way to make something there to be able to survive. It's like, when you came over from Europe on a boat, you got cold. You didn't bring the fuel with you. You learned how to turn the forest there into a campfire. That's what they're going to have to do when they go. I see people living on the moon. I don't see people living on Mars. It's too far, too long to get there with our technology.
Yeah, like I know that the race right now is just to get all the helium-3 off the moon, because they think that that's going to be the fuel that they use while they're in space. Sure, we can fantasize about asteroids covered in diamonds, but like if you're going to extract that stuff, it's going to be hard to land.
What would a diamond be worth?
Yeah, right.
Now, if you brought back 10 tons of diamond, your diamond is worthless. And really, ideally, other than giving it to your girlfriend or what have you, what good is a diamond?
I know you're taking the value away from all the current diamonds if you add more to the.
You never used a diamond to cut into a window in your crime days? You never did that?
The commercial made diamonds are actually harder. And if you want to cut into a glass window, an old-fashioned steel glass cutter works really fine. They're only toothbrush.
You've heard, right? You've heard. Wait, but I want to know something about your MacGyver nickname, because you described one of the devices you made with the pulley system and the antenna. Did you have any other like cool MacGyver tricks?
I like making things, and I have a background of, I like racing. I first got into cars. Got to remember, I'm an old guy. And then I got into motorcycles because I realized they were so much faster and a whole lot cheaper. And it wasn't the object of making faster, it was just to be faster, to accelerate faster, to handle. When it became cheaper, and almost everything you do comes down to science or physics. I mean, something in motion is kinetic energy. To be able to stop it, you have to turn it into then you can't destroy it, so you turn it into heat energy. That's what your brakes are doing, making friction. Look at any car you see on the road. They all got holes in the wheel. They all look pretty, even the trucks. That's to throw away the heat. So it's all science. And that's what you do when you're racing, is you got to figure out how to make it better. So doing what I used to do, because I tried to be a ghost. I didn't get to be this infamous MacGyver Cocaine Cowboy thing until people started writing books. And I ended up in, Kings of Cocaine and The Man Who Made It Snow, and American Desperado, and on and on. And then they made the documentary, and here I am. I was a ghost. I didn't want people to know who I was, what I was doing. I didn't walk around going, hey, look at me. And I like making things. I don't want to be seen. You're seeing it every day. You don't see it with the military when they're doing things. They're flying on the ground. Why are they flying down low?
Yeah, just avoid radar and
Why?
avoid detection
No, no.
and
But you're saying to avoid it, how does that work? The world is round. Can you see New York? If the world was flat, you could see it. Your TV antenna, your old TV with rabbit ears. Palm Beach is 60 miles from where I'm at right now in Miami. Channel 12 has a 1,000 foot tall antenna. Sorry, 1,000 foot tall mast. Again, remember the antenna might only be this big. Don't confuse the mast with the antenna. The antenna could be 1,000 feet long, but it's up high. The reason it's up high so that it could reach around the world. The antenna's over here and you're over here. There's a whole lot, and your radar is a microwave. It's a straight line. It doesn't follow the earth. So if you're down on the deck, go back to Palm Beach, rabbit ears will not pick up channel 12 here in Miami. I'm not talking about cable. I'm talking about the old rabbit ears. So something 60 miles away at 1,000 feet, you won't see it. Now, if you have an AWAC airplane that's up higher, he can see further around the world because he's up higher. Understand how that works? So if you're a cruise missile, how long have they been making cruise missiles? They literally fly what they call map of the earth. They're going up and down over the hills and the trees. So you don't see them until it's on top of you. So if you had radar, the average radar at an airport, which is, we don't really have military installations all over this country. If the regular airports, what could it be? 50 feet up, if that, okay? So how far is she going to, that's like what? So if you're at 100 feet, they're not going to see you. I live here in Miami. Where are you guys at?
Los Angeles.
Do you have a road that runs down the beach?
Yeah.
Okay, what's on, between you, between the road and the ocean, what's there? Hotels?
Yeah.
How tall are they? 10 feet? That would be one story. It'd be 30, 40, 50 stories tall, right? Say it was only 10 stories tall, and the radars in all the airport are inland, right? So if you're in an airplane and you're at 50 feet on the other side of that hotel, what are they going to see? Nothing. It'd be like you ducking down and walking behind a wall and somebody in the house can't see you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that, most people don't think of. It's real simple, just common sense. So that's what the military is doing when they build, and now the Ukrainians have taken it to another level with the drones. They keep them down low, following the map of the earth, and you can't see it on radar. And if you do, all the radar is looking for an airplane. If you lower it down, you might see a tree. And the tree might moving, so it gets what they call ground clutter. And now, if you're down there with the trees, the guy's looking at, oh, that's a tree. It's scary if you're trying to defend something, if you're on the receiving end of it. If you're coming at it, take advantage of it. So you might say, I was doing something that wasn't supposed to do, so I stayed down low, real low, and they don't see you. Even today, nothing's changed. 2015, I forget, I think it was put in the Discovery Channel. Guys like you, I put people in location. If you wanted to do something really strange and you wanted something different to do a photo shoot or something like that, people find me because I've been here all my life and I know all the weird things around this South Florida. And I know a whole lot of people. You're looking at somebody, I put them into a restaurant, a really great little restaurant called Steve's Pizza. A great place. They've been there forever. It's a little tiny place, no waiters. The food is awesome. They wanted to do a thing, iconic things coming into Florida. I put them there. And while they're there, guys like you said, hey, you can't do what you used to do. I said, rent the plane, I'll show you 5 places within 15 miles. I forgot all about it. And 2 weeks later, the guy calls me up and said, hey, were you for real? I'm not even thinking about it. Because I go, yeah, pay for a rental. I'll show you. took them out in a little Aztec airplane, which was a really nice little twin-engine Piper airplane. And we went to 5 different places around Miami, landed on one in the daytime, not at night. I'm going, see anybody? Is anybody coming? No, nothing has changed because the world is round. That can be scary because it could be somebody. You might say, oh, I'm not trying to make what I did like something good, but what is marijuana meant for? It's meant for fun. I brought fun back. I didn't bring back poisons or evil people or something that could hurt you. Can you imagine if somebody wanted to do that? How easy it would to be. That's the reason why I've been invited to, you know what Southcom is? U.S. Southern, the interdiction of drugs and terrorism. They asked me to come out and I sit down, room with like 150 people and tell them, make fun of them in a nice way. Okay. The ones that I think don't get the respect they should is the U.S. Coast Guard. Those guys are amazing. Yet I towed them in one day with a boat that had 200 kilos of coke in it. I towed them in.
But why do you like them? Because they're not good at detecting you?
They broke down. I was there. I towed them in. Nobody looked at me. I'm not belittling because I really think, if you think about it, the first people that went into New Orleans when Katrina hit was the U.S. Coast Guard. The commander followed the storm. They didn't know exactly where it's going to hit. Okay. He had moved all his resources up so that wherever it hit, they were there within hours. Those guys are awesome. Awesome. The rest of them, those guys.
Yeah. Awesome. No, I'm with you.
Tell everybody, go take this. You live by water. Go take the small boating course. It's a lot of fun to do. Also take the CPR class. You'll have more fun with that when you get down and you have to kiss that stupid dummy, especially if you take your friends with you and you had a drink or two. It's a whole lot of fun. Plus, you'll learn something that, God forbid you ever have to use it, but you might save somebody's life.
Yeah.
Coast Guard, when you take the small boating course, they lose money. And the reason why they would rather lose the money, they would rather lose $50 on you than spend $100,000 saving your dumb fucking ass. That's the way it goes. And that's the way they do it. And they're for real. Take the small boating course. You'll have a lot of fun doing it. What's port? What's starboard? Do you know?
Yeah, I do. I know this. Port has left. Port is left because it's four letters. Port and left.
Okay, I'm going to give you a real good one here. Everything on an airplane is exactly the same as a boat. Everything. What do you call that thing that flies? What's it called? It's called a plane, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where'd the word come from? When a boat
the Wright brothers?
Water, it's planing. What is the person who controls the plane, the guy or girl? What is that person called?
The pilot.
Pilot.
Where did that word come from?
Boat.
The person who steers a ship in the pilot house. That's where the steering wheel is. If you were in a big ship and never been to a port before, you'll hire a pilot who come out in his little boat, get on and steer you in so you don't run into the sandbar of a reef. And he'll take you back out, get on his little boat again and go. So now, what is that pilot if you got on Delta Airlines, even though he's not in the military, he has a military rank? What is he called?
Oh, lieutenant?
How about captain?
Oh, captain.
Captain, and if you're in the Army, your insignia is here, right? Unless you're a general or something. If you're in the Navy, you have an epaulette right here, and you have bars on it. 4 bars is captain, 3 is the first officer, 2 is the second officer. Ever noticed that before? Or have a jacket that'll be here?
Sure, yeah.
If you went anywhere on land, you would have a map. If you went anywhere in water, even though it's the same damn thing, it's called a chart. Guess what they use on an airplane? A chart. If you got served a drink or somebody helped you with your luggage on the ship, what's that person called?
The steward.
Oh, who bought you the drink on the airplane?
Yeah, steward.
Stewardess.
But now it's flight attendant.
What's the left side of the boat called? You just said it. Port. What's the left side of the airplane? Port. Right side starboard. There's navigation lights on a boat so you don't run into one another. And by the way, no matter where you go in the world, it's the same. Whether you're on a creek, a stream, a lake, a pond, a river, a bay, an ocean, a sea. It's the same. So there's navigation lights, green and red on the boat so they don't run into one another at night. Guess what color they are on an airplane? Green and red. And you have this big thing in the back of a ship that's in the water like this that helps you steer. What's that thing called? A rudder. Wonder what that big thing in the back of the airplane might be called. Oh, a rudder. Understand? Everything is the same. I'm going to give you one that's really good. Where do you take, where you live, has a big, giant area where the ships go. What's that area called?
Well, the docks,
No, that's where you park it.
Shipyard, bay.
the port,
It's called the what?
the port.
A port. Where do you take an airplane to?
Oh yeah, the airport.
Oh my God, an airport. Understand what I'm saying? If you learn the small boating course, you're halfway to being a pilot.
Right. Except for
That's
I'm
funny.
terrified of water and falling from high
I know,
distances.
me too.
All too far in the water. Okay, my point is, it's real easy. And I tell people, they think, oh God, if you can fly, I tell people, go get your pilot's license. And you won't believe how much fun you'll have because it is so much fun to learn. And if you add that on your resume, I don't care what kind of job, it says pilot, they think you're a surgeon.
Yeah.
You think of
For
pilot,
sure.
even though you're only flying a little two-seater 152. Now you want to keep getting bigger and bigger to be certified, but I'll give you another. Do you guys drink or maybe do a little tooting?
Yeah.
All of the above.
Okay. I tell people you don't have to do anything. It is the only legal way to get high. Go get your pilot's license.
Yeah. It's
It'll
not. Did you ever crash?
I have never been in one that has crashed. I have been around planes that have crashed. I watched other people crash airplanes, but I have been fortunate enough not to. The thing about an airplane, you have a checklist. You've probably seen in movies where the guys, this, this.
Yeah.
If you have been in the airplane every day and you fly it all day long, and I mean, you get out to go into the restaurant or to go take a leak or something like, you get back in the airplane, you do that check sheet. And that's where people mess up. They get complacent. They forgot to turn that. And there isn't much in the little airplane. They're basic as hell, but do the check sheet.
Word.
And if the plane doesn't have one, you don't get in it. Any plane that I have is going to have one under the seat, under that seat, behind the seat, one on the glove box, and one on top of the sun visor. And it'll be laminated, so nobody's excuse. Yes, yes. Most of the time, if the plane crashes, choosing the pilot, there are extenuating circumstances. Almost all the airplanes that you see, the thing people don't pay attention to, the TSA and the FAA, if somebody even bumps an airplane, that there might be damage, they go and inspect it, and they want to know why. And if there was something wrong with the airplane, they make everybody with that airplane fix it. So if you've got a plane that's 30, 40, 50 years old or more, that thing's practically bulletproof. Because anything and everything that could ever been wrong with that airplane has been fixed. That's why the FAA has airplanes, US airplanes, every year have to be inspected, and you have to have the logbooks. If somebody fixes them, the actual mechanic has to go through it to make sure everything has ever been fixed on that airplane. Sometimes it's real cheap, sometimes it's real expensive to get it done, but they end up being almost bulletproof. You get out. I went flying the other day in a plane that was 60-something years old. Still looked great. I felt better in it if I'd gotten a new one.
You realize you're calling Harrison Ford a huge idiot right now. He's crashed at least once. Hasn't he crashed twice, Willie?
I thought so.
If you look at how many he's crashed an airplane, right? Okay, he crashed airplanes. I think he landed it on a golf course.
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't his fault. That was a mechanical problem, and he had
Oh.
a good pilot and solved the thing. But I'm not saying that it shouldn't. And the airplane he was flying was a really old. It was probably 75 years old or something like that. So it was an antique airplane. I think it was an old fighter plane of some kind or something. People crash.
Oh,
If you
cool.
do statistics, the mileage that you go in an airplane, the number of people that have been hurt or killed doesn't even come anywhere close to like what 3 days of the accidents in cars.
Right.
I'm betting it's like 2%, not even 1%.
Yeah, because it's just like sailing.
It's safer. The only problem with sailing, when I tell people I have to have a motor when I get on a boat of some kind. Whenever I go in a sailboat, the only wind that'll be there is me with all the hot air I feel.
Nah.
You're going to be calmed. So,
Have you ever
I would never get on a sailboat.
have you ever bailed on a mission because of weather?
I like to tell people one of the trips, that's the reason why I got really good at weather, and another with the thing with the MacGyver thing is we came home one time in a hurricane on purpose. Does that answer your weather question?
You're just using it as cover? Were you using it as cover?
Yeah, who else is out? Who else is flying?
Right.
What is radar going to look like on it? That was a limb that went by our roof, what I'm getting at. Okay. But the part that was really tough is 24 hours before I'm going to be where I'm going to be, I have to know where the storm's going to be. I got to be within like 10 miles to predicting that. It was a category 2 storm, so it wasn't a really bad boy, but it's still enough to do things. You don't punch a hole in it, you fly into it.
Right, right.
In other words, the storm,
Yeah, yeah.
the hurricane is a low pressure area. I'll give you another question. Which way does the wind go in a low pressure area?
Do you mean up or down?
Counterclockwise?
Good boy. Which way does the wind go in a high pressure area?
Right, clockwise.
Okay. A hurricane, a cyclone, typhoon, they're all the same. They're all cyclones. There's a low pressure area. It goes counterclockwise. So if you try to punch a hole in it, you got this, you're going to get pushed anyway. So you fly with it. So you're looking at your airspeed indicator and you're indicating, 80 mile an hour, and you look at your electronics. Back then it was called the RAN-C and sat nav, and you're going 200. You got 100 and something mile an hour tailwind. In an airplane, you have ground speed and airspeed, not to confuse the two. If you have a headwind, you're going to say 100, 20 mile an hour headwind, you're only going 80. If the 20 mile an hour is behind you, you're saying 100, but you're going 120. That's the reason why every runway is actually 2 runways. You always want to take off. Remember me telling you about putting the silo in the thing so that the airplane's flying into the wind? I'll give you your first test. I'm going to give you 2 words, and you're going to tell me as you spell it, which one is bigger, okay? As you spell it, which is bigger, left or right?
Right.
As you spell it, which is bigger, red or green?
Green.
As you spell it, which is bigger, port or starboard?
Starboard.
You should now never forget this. You put all the big words on one side and all the little words on the other side. So what side of the airplane or ship or boat is the red light?
Left.
Left.
What side?
That's good. I was going to ask you that, actually.
Huh?
That's good. I was going to ask you about the red and light side.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one more. I hope you never ever see. Which is bigger, red or blue?
Blue.
Guess what side of the police car the blue light is on?
Is that true?
Right side.
Okay.
So you should never forget it. Every once in a while, you'll see a movie where whoever built the police cars for
Yeah.
the light bar on backwards.
That's funny.
See how much closer to the small boating course you already are?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I heard that you were self-taught pilot.
I was what?
Self-taught pilot.
Yeah.
You didn't take, yeah. I mean, I imagine you were self-taught most of the things in your life, which is pretty cool.
What I tell people is I've been flying with other people in small little airplanes. I'd even been up in the Goodyear blimp because when it was out at Opelika Airport, most of the crew was living at the same apartment complex as the Doral that I was, and I became friends with them. So like once a week, as the Goodyear would have a thing where family or friends, nobody paid. Then you could take a flight in the rubber rocket. I've been around airplanes. When my father built the house on the Biscayne Canal, I think I was 8. No, 6. We moved in, I was 8 years old. Lived on a canal. I've been boating since I was 8. Remember when I said everything's the same?
Yeah.
I was in the Sea Scouts when everybody else was in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. Then where Miami, the port of Miami is, where all the cruise ships, that used to be three little tiny spoil islands. When they dug the channel into this, they had an island. It might have been like 150 feet long. Now the damn thing's like a mile long and a half mile wide. They pumped it all in. I can remember camping there. I built a boat. My dad would have shot me. Building the boat was no problem. He was happy about that. I took the time to figure out what kind of gas mileage you got with my Super 10 Mercury. It was a rectangular boat with a bow that went, instead of a 45, it rolled up a little bit. I decked it over. It's only 4 feet by 8. Put truck inner tubes underneath it. I even had a truck inner tube that would fit over my motor. On the bottom of the boat, I wrote, boat was white, I wrote help. In case we went over. The sides
Sure.
built this thing, called it the barge with the Super 10 Mercury motor on the thing. It was really fast because it didn't weigh anything. The gas tank was on top. You had to keep pouring gas into the tank on top. So you had to have a separate tank. And I figured my mileage and I waited. And that's the other thing. I studied the weather every day until the day that the ocean is perfectly flat. I took my boat down the canal. There was no dam in the canal then. Down the canal, out Oliver Cut, which was the roughest part because the current was coming in big waves. And I went to Bimini, which is 60 miles away. I thought the worst thing that could happen was I'd get to Bimini and the weather would change and I would have to call my dad up and he would pay Trox Airlines because their seaplane flew to Bimini. I would have to come home on the airplane. Of course, I would bring my motor with me and I'd have to leave my little boat. And I got lucky and I was able to buy the fuel there, which I knew, and I brought my boat back. And I didn't tell them about it for like 10 years. My point being is I took a 60-mile over the ocean that young. It was fun. I'm not trying to say I was some kind of hero or something. It was something that maybe it's a different time. And we were told that we couldn't go swimming in the canal. My brother and I fell in accidentally on purpose at least twice a day.
Yeah.
And when he built the house there, today I tell the people that are there that it was a swamp. It's houses now as far as you can see. We had no neighbors. Everything was a challenge. My dad bought a ride-on lawnmower. It's a whole lot of fun to figure out how to make it faster. You could pop a wheelie with it. And the irony is, years later, got into racing lawnmowers. By the way, if you ever want to watch something that's fun, and guys are crazy, they all cheat. They all cheat so bad it becomes fair.
Now, wait. When you're racing lawnmowers, do you also have to cut grass, or is it just a race?
Oh no, I cut grass, but the guys who are racing lawnmowers and girls. By the way, the one I built I built it for a girl. The girl I was living with. She drove it. I built it. Okay, she was incredibly competitive. Also, she weighed 80 pounds less than me, which is okay, and she incredibly competitive. So it was like one of the old soccer races. They get out and they would have fights with one another. I'd be able to laugh my ass off. They're racing lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Now, 5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton. Everybody treated. They were probably getting 20 to 22 horsepower out of them. I was probably getting 23 to 24. It made it fair. And that made it a whole lot of fun.
At what point did you get into smuggling? And it must have been pretty early because you talked about how you didn't want to have like an identity, right? Like you're kind of off the grid, it sounds like.
In 1978, we were in a recession. Jimmy Carter was president. Wasn't his fault. South Florida construction, well, it wasn't just South Florida, but South Florida construction stopped. I had, from my father, inherited from him a small concrete block company. We made a decorative block. We made like stepping stones and things like that. And I had a little welding shop. Most of the welding I did was repair, and I built like a little equipment trailers, motorcycle trailers, and car trailers. Because I have a lot of friends that were into the stock car racing, and some of the trailers I built were for the guys with the tractor. You know what a bush hog is? That's the one.
No.
They pull it behind the tractor, mows the grass.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they have a piece of equipment on the ground. It's a brand name. It's called a bush hog. I would repair them, and then I would build my own using the bush hog transmission and all. I would build the actual metal part. And because of the motorcycle racing, I got into a little high performance motorcycle shop. Sorry about that. So I wasn't hurting. I was just getting by. Where I was living out at the Doral, the young lady that I was fortunate enough to be living with, she insisted on paying half. There were some times where she had to pay it all. Now, the following month, I paid it all, but all I had was a real estate tax and my water bill. And something came up where I ended up on a plot deal. A neighbor of mine was actually killed. And I went in to throw away into the warehouse that he had. His brother was a minister. And, it's already a terrible thing. And I thought he had, a couple ounces, maybe a pound of pot. I went in to throw it away. And I found 2,000 pounds of pot.
Oof. Jackpot.
And that was in 1978 money. I gave it to somebody. I gave it to two different people and split it with them. And I had $165,000 in 1978 money.
Nice.
Started, and that's when I looked and said, this looks like an attractive business. I'm not going to grow it. I'm not going to buy it or sell it. And transportation. What am I good at? It's transportation.
Mhm.
I looked at the airplane thing to getting into that.
And so the connections that you made on just that first deal, like saw
No.
you through?
No, that was the thing on the airplane was give an analogy. I want to say it's like a trucking company. Before you can go out and look for a contract to be able to haul freight, you need the truck. There's no sense in looking for the business. So what I had to do was to get the airplane first. I never bought it. I never sold it. I never stole it. I never used it. I've never smoked a joint. I've never done a line of coke. I've never done any pills other than whatever a doctor gave me. And I don't really drink. Champagne when I saw his wedding ring. That would be about it. I used to drink a little, and one day I said, well, this is dumb. By the way, it's more fun when you don't because you end up being the designated driver. You watch
No,
do stupid things.
that is a nightmare scenario.
You know that when you went out and if you got seriously fucked up, and I come up to you and go, hey, you got to leave that girl alone because her boyfriend's getting mad.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to say that unless it's true. And the other reason you might look around and say, there's no guy here. I'm saying the girl next to her is really her boyfriend. And it looks like she works out a lot. I think you'd be better off back up a little. So,
yeah, I got hammered.
And most of the young ladies I've run around with, they know that if you went anywhere, they can go out and have a really good time and they're going to get home safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Somewhere.
Plus, you get high off of flying, so you don't need this stuff anyway.
Remember what I said? It's the only legal way to get high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mickey, what do you? I want to ask you about. So you've ridden in a. Sorry, this is off in another realm, but you've ridden in the Goodyear blimp, and you also mentioned this charged electricity that happens on planes. I've always heard this idea that the old blimps kind of ran off of this charged particles in the air, and that like they could just recharge by pulling up to some sort of like electricity refueling situation where not necessarily refueling, but I mean just like that they worked better off of the natural energy in the air.
I'm going to give you one that you'll understand. A cubic foot of salt water is like 67 pounds a cubic foot. So if you had a boat that was, let's make it a barge, 10 feet by 10 feet, and it's 16 inches high, 1 foot. That's 100 square feet. In that, you could put 6,700 pounds, and the boat would only sink 1 foot. You'd still have 4 inches above the water. Does steel float?
No.
It doesn't? Gee, I wonder how the ships work. Does concrete float? No. They made concrete ships. Does fiberglass float? No. They all displaced water. And the boat, as you put the load in, it sinks. It is displacing 67 pounds per cubic foot. You get into fresh water, I think it's like 64 pounds. They have to be careful on the depth of a boat when they're going from the ocean into the Great Lakes because the boat will be deeper in the water because there's that much less flotation. That's getting nitpicky, I'm sorry. You have the same thing with the air around you. A blimp or Zeppelin floats. It is lighter than air, just like that steel ship is lighter than the water that it displaced. Understand?
Yeah.
You know what a Zeppelin is?
Yeah.
Count a Zeppelin. Okay. There is most people.
Wait, is there a difference between a Zeppelin and a blimp?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Huge.
The frame.
Oh, the Zeppelin has a little propeller on the back?
A Zeppelin is a rigid airship with bladders in it. A blimp is an airbag with a gondola underneath it. Okay?
Okay.
A Zeppelin, a rigid airship, you can get anywhere inside of it. Pull up the Hindenburg and the Empire State Building, 800, almost 900 feet long. The Empire State Building's 1,300 feet. Empire State Building was originally a landing for Zeppelins. There you go. You got the picture.
Yeah, right. Like that. I've seen these pictures. I've seen them. Like
the reason why they did that there is that was the tallest building in New York at that time, and a blimp or Zeppelin always has to come into the air. It can't have a crosswind. It can't crab like an airplane can. An airplane can go like this, okay? Where the Zeppelin always has to go into the air if it wants to go to a fixed object. So the airport around a blimp or Zeppelin is 360 degrees, not a roadway. So we can tie, and it blows like whatever way the wind is, and will turn with the wind like a big windsock. The Zeppelin is a rigid ship. Going back to you were talking about helium earlier on the moon. Is the United States would not sell helium to Germany. Most of the helium was coming from a place in Texas. Now they found it in several other places, and the world is slowly running out of helium. One day when you go to get your little balloons to go up, this will probably cost you $10 to fill the damn thing.
Those are gone. Yeah, no more birthday balloons.
They're losing it. They're using it in all kinds of things, but there's only a limited supply. They keep looking. Maybe they'll find it. I believe they will. Anyway, in World War I, the Zeppelins, named after Count von Zeppelin, was a rigid airship, would fly over London at night, painted flat black, and drop bombs in London. And it's flying in at 20,000 feet. Remember what the airplanes looked like back in 1914, 15? They were made out of toothpicks. I think the Wright brothers was what, 2004? I'm sorry, 1904, 1905. Yeah. Motors weren't really that much horsepower either. The higher you go, the less air there is, the less horsepower. So say you had 100 horsepower here at 10,000 feet, I'm going to make these numbers up, you might only have 70. You're going to get to a point where you don't have enough because the airplane has to be moving to have lift over the wing. There's less air. So the reason why they fly high is there's less drag, the plane can go faster, but they had to have horsepower. Today they have no horsepower. Well, they could only get to, let's say, 10,000 feet. The Zeppelin's at 20. They couldn't shoot the damn thing down. And think about it, if you put mufflers on the motor where you didn't hear them, can you hear a car 4 miles away? 20 feet is 4 miles. Can you hear it? So they, with immunity, could drop bombs wherever they wanted to. And even if they couldn't get up to it. So they went and had to put a bigger motor on. Well, the motor got bigger, the airplane got heavier, and they had to have a bigger. So you had the same thing, no matter what you did, you only could get to here. So they knew how to make turbochargers and superchargers, but they never put them on motors. They knew how to make turbines when they were making electricity, where the water comes through the dam, spins a turbine, powers the generator. That's how they knew the science on turbines. So some guy, I don't know his name, said, and by the way, if you're trying to figure this out on an airplane, you remember with the made out of tissue paper, you send the guy up, there was not really any parachutes back then, and a radio was the size of your refrigerator, if you could even get a rig, so you couldn't get one. So you'd send the guy up, you might not get anything back but a hole in the ground. So somebody came along and said, hey, give me a truck, flatbed truck, a whole bunch of airplane engines, and find me someplace that has a road that goes up 14,000 feet. And I can build the motors there and not worry about crashing. If it blows up, so what? Have you ever heard of Pikes Peak, Colorado?
Oh yeah, we're both from Colorado.
On the top, there's a monument to that guy. He figured out how to make a turbocharger and a supercharger work. Now they could get up to and shoot the Zeppelin down. And then when they went to shoot it, it's only a hole. How big's a bullet? You just saw how big the Zeppelin was. What do you think a bullet's going to do to that? Even if you put 20 in it, wouldn't hurt it. Okay, how much? Got to remember, it isn't under pressure like your balloon. It's just displacing. So it wouldn't be much of a leak. And you could patch it because you can get anywhere inside the damn Zeppelin. What they would do is somebody came along and said, hey, how about if we make a bullet that burns? Ever heard? You know what it is. And they still use it today. It's called a tracer.
Okay, yeah.
The bullet would go through, didn't do anything when it went through because it's just hydrogen. When it came out, it pokes a hole and pulls some hydrogen, and hydrogen and oxygen and a flame, and what do you get? A fire. Remember watching the Challenger blow up? That was hydrogen and oxygen. So that man invented a bullet that we still use today called a tracer. I think that, by the way, that same guy invented smoke that goes down. Ever heard of that?
No.
You still use the word as a technical. Ever hear of a smoke screen?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're in a ship coming across from the U-boats are shooting them, so why don't you get the destroyer to run up and down the length of your convoy, and you make smoke coming out of it. The smoke comes out and settles on the water, and now the guy in the submarine can't see all the boats because they didn't have radar and sonar back then. They had to actually see it to shoot it, a smoke screen. By the way, next Tuesday, there's going to be a test on all this.
That was.
Remember the 5 questions you asked me?
Yeah. All right, we'll give you 5. You can ask us 5.
I'm just full of useless information.
It's great.
No, it's just evidence that my brain is in no way like your brain. Like I have no engineering like capabilities. Like I couldn't even like imagine building a boat right now.
I know that
don't know how to
my
build a
dad
boat.
probably had like little circuit fun kits as a kid. I never had circuit fun kits.
What I'm trying to say is almost all of it, I'm going to be saying, is physics. You're converting one type of energy into another, to another, and to another to do whatever you want. And that's what I looked at when I was making high performance motorcycles. I wasn't just changing parts. I was asking why and what if. And I blew up a lot of things before I got it to work. And I didn't have money, so I wasn't able to go buy, this really expensive part. I had to figure out how to make it myself, how to make something with what I had to make it better.
I just give up. I look at all of those problems and I give up.
Also simple. I'm going to give you one. When you compress anything, what happens? This is going to be on the test next Tuesday, by the way. When you compress anything, I don't care how small or how big it is, what happens? It gets hot.
Pressure builds up. Yeah, heat.
It gets hot. That's how you make a star. When anything expands, no matter how big or small it is, out to the size of the universe, and the universe is expanding, it gets cold. I've just told you how your ice maker, your refrigerator, your water chiller works. That's simple. When something gets hot, it expands. When something expands, it gets cold. When something is compressed, it gets hot. So we're going to give you something from a long time ago. Around 1895, there was this German guy. We were having trouble. Cars were still coming out. There were some that were electric, some were steam. They were trying all sorts of things. They were trying fuel. You made fuel, you made fuel, he made fuel, I made fuel. All good. But there was no standard. Like you go to the gas station anywhere in the world, the whole world uses the same, so everybody can build a motor to that fuel. So this German guy said, and your spark plugs, the metallurgy back then wasn't really good. So the spark plug would actually melt. You actually rebuilt the spark plug. They didn't last very long. Today, spark plugs should last forever. And the gap, by the way, in the old ones, if it gets more than like 40 thousandths of an inch, which is, that small. It's tiny. Today, I'm betting you they could have ignitions that would literally zap from me where I'm sitting to where you are that far away. and do it like it looked like one, and would probably be 1,000 zaps. I mean, technology's back to the spaceship. But this guy come along and said, how about if we figure out the right fuel and air mixture, which we all had to do. If you look at all the old cars, on the steering column, you'll see 2 levers, and you had a gas pedal and your brake pedal. Just like an airplane, you can adjust the richness. The higher you go, less air, so you have to cut the richness, and you get the right figure to what the fuel is. And then we're going to compress it so hard. What happens when you compress it?
It's hot.
Heats up.
We're going to make enough heat that it'll ignite the fuel. What was his name? And you know his name from 130 years ago.
I can't even think of a joke.
Ford.
His name was Diesel.
Diesel.
He built a diesel motor. A diesel motor doesn't have a spark plug.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You ever seen a pile driver? Bing, ba bing, ba bing, ba bing.
Yeah. I've driven plenty of diesel tractors.
They squirt fuel in it. Comes down, bang. To get the weight to go back up, an explosion, down, hit. Enough energy goes into the piling and shoots the thing back up. It's a diesel engine. The simplest diesel engine. It's back to the basics of what I've said. If you know the physics, if you compress something, it gets hot. If it expands, it gets cold. You take a gas, we'll say Freon, you compress it. What happens when you compress the gas?
Heats up.
Okay, run it through a radiator, and you run air over it or water, and you throw the heat away. Then you let the gas continue on to a valve that expands. And what happens when the gas expands?
Cools down.
You run air over it for your air conditioner, for your refrigerator, or your water chiller. Back to the compressor again. Now you're going to have all kinds of sensors and shit on it today, but there's your basic thing. Compressed it, got hot, threw that heat away, let it expand, you got it cold. It's all really basics, and it's all around you. And have I said anything that's really tough?
No.
Either one of you got kids?
Yeah, I got a little 8-year-old running around.
Okay, you want to have fun here? At night, you watch the moon go from the east to the west, right? You watch it. What if I told you it's really going the other way?
Right, we're spinning.
If you watch it, here's what you can do with your 8-year-old. You tell him to walk. So little boy, he walks, and you walk by him real fast. And from your point of view, which direction? You're both going in the same direction. From your point of view, which direction was he going? That way, right? You walk by him. You're on the expressway, going 100. You went by a car going 40. From your point of view, that car looks like it's going that way. That you're both going in the same direction. The Earth takes 24 hours to make a revolution. The moon takes 28 days in the same direction. So if you divide 28 into 360, what do you got? Math. We'll call it 13 to 360 degrees in a compass. So you go out and look at the moon at 8 o'clock and say it's right there. And you go out tomorrow at 8 o'clock at the same time, it'll be 13 degrees to the east. Ding, 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 ding. How simple was that you can explain it to an 8-year-old? Watch it go that way. It's all real simple. Sometimes if you say the moon gets real close to like Venus, where, a bright planet, you see it. If you go out and say you look at it at 6, and let's say they're like this, and if you go out and look at it like at 10, because remember, this is going from the Earth's point of view, but this is a little bit slower. So you can actually see it in one night if you watch it. And it's fun. I like to say it. Well, you can't do it with an 8-year-old. The moon is Diana, the goddess of the hunt. What is Venus? Goddess of love. Jupiter, the god of the gods. Mercury, god that steed, and you got the god of war. Well, she goes and visits each one. And every once in a while, there might be the two of them together, so there's a little menage a trois going. So you can even have fun with it that way. And when Diana, the goddess of the hunt, goes to Venus, she swings both ways because she's going to leave there and head over to have a little fun with Jupiter. Have fun with it. You can have fun. You take a young lady up, or your son, they're good. It's more fun with the lady because you can bet or something, and go flying and put the airplane, and you know what time the moon's going to come up, and you take it up to like 10,000 feet, and you watch the moon come up, and then you bet her. I can make it go back down and come up again in the next 5-10 minutes. And they're going to go, Well, of course, you're going to bet something that's going to be a lot of fun, hopefully for both of you. And you go, ooh, down to 1,000 feet. And you watch the moon go back down behind the horizon, because your point of view, you're up here, you could see it. Remember, the world is round. It's like walking up to a tall building.
Yeah.
Way over here, I can see what's behind it. The closer I get, I can't see it anymore. How much fun is that?
You
Uh,
must hate flat earthers.
that's what I was gonna say, Mickey. I just want you to talk to every flat earther because there's so much proof in flying that the earth is round that I can't believe that it exists. Have you heard flat earther arguments?
What you're looking at, get ahead of it. If you can't see the drones coming, you're not watching anything on the internet. They're here already. Uber and Lyft are doing everything they can.
Yeah, they're going to make deliveries and taxis.
I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. If you went and got an option on the upper floor of the parking garage downtown, and don't tell them what I'm telling you right now, you're saying you wanted it for weddings and parties. They're going to love it because where are those people going to park? On the floors below it. But what you're doing is you're getting an option. They can keep right on renting it until you exercise your option. You're going to sell that option to Uber or Lyft because we're not. Are they going to land their cars?
Uh-huh.
Remember the Apex road? You get a house built or a warehouse, make sure the roof is strong enough and get a flat roof because you ain't parking it in front of your house because you got trees and everything around your roof.
They're not gonna land on the street.
Get ahead of it. You already see it coming. What would it cost to get the option on every place that you can find? Go out and get them all. Make sure your contract's right. They think so somebody else doesn't do it. Maybe I've now told hopefully 1 million of your followers.
We're going to cut this part. We're going to cut this part and keep it all for ourselves.
Option for that. The other thing that I want to give you, do you use Google Earth?
Yeah.
All the time. You're looking at things. Do you go and get the satellite view with map on top of it? So you actually see it? What would be wrong with renting, or if you have it on your house, and it says Bill's Barbecue? Make sure you get it so you're looking at it like a real map north.
Yeah.
Point it to the Bill's Barbecue, and you rent your roof for $50 a month.
Future billboards,
Turn your roof into a billboard. By the way, 50 doesn't sound like much. Easy sell. That's $600 a year, and I bet you Bill will feed you one meal a year too.
Every time I collect, he better.
Or it could be whatever the name of your company is, because everybody now looks on Google Earth. Put your name up there. The name of this little show right here.
Yeah.
Think of this before you do it. When you look at a map, all the maps, you're looking at them from the south to the north. No matter where you turn, the map reads this way. Okay, so don't put the writing. You can make it left and right. You can have, instead of having it, you turn the map around, you can read if it's sideways, like this. You want it like this. I'm sorry, I'm looking. You want it
it's hard.
like this. You don't want it this way where you have to turn it upside down. Preferably make it real easy where your sign goes east and west so that you can read it from the south. You could do it to your house. Right now, all the highways, everywhere.
We live in LA. We don't own these properties we live in.
But we could secretly paint the roofs of the places we live in.
But giving the option on somebody's roof that you renting it. What I'm trying to say is all the billboards everywhere you go, nobody can build any new ones because there would be signs everywhere. Well, there's no law against a sign that's this way. Signs that are this way. It would be grandfathered.
I know. I love picturing billboards from Google Earth View where it's like, there's nothing there.
I made a park next to my house. Went out and with my lawnmower in the grass, I cut the word love, and I cut 2 hearts, like the regular heart like this, but I made them sort of long tail, and I made them so they're left and right, so they interlocked. That's a joke. And one day I'm looking at Google Earth, and I can see where it says love, and there's 2 hearts. I ended up making it a park called Lock and Love Park. What did that cost me? What would it cost you to put a sign on the roof of your house? Okay.
A couple
Pretty
hundred
great.
bucks.
And if you use roof sealer, the paint that you would seal your roof with, so whatever sign you put up there, you're actually sealing your roof.
Yeah, just put a QR code to a link to the
Right,
podcast.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Sell it to
By the way, if you do this and I find out about it, I want 2%.
2% is fair. We can do that.
And this is recorded, so
Yeah, it's a contract. It's an oral contract. We gotta go.
2%. So we got
Um,
subject enough, and your friend Murphy told me that I'm not supposed to talk this much.
no, listen, this
Oh,
is
no,
great.
this
We
is
could talk
great.
to you forever. But we have kept you for 2 hours and you're what, 3 hours past us. So
Time he made for me. If you get a little long-winded, get off the subject. Things like that. I don't like to sound like I'm bragging about what I used to do when I was doing the bringing back contraband.
No,
No,
but
I love
it's
it. Like I
listen,
said, man, I
yeah.
just want to keep pointing out that, like, listen, you paid your dues and you were a smart person, a non-violent entity that,
Plus, it's drugs. Who gives a shit? It's just
yeah,
drugs, man.
yeah.
Drugs are awesome.
It's funny because you got in trouble for things that the FBI and the CIA used to fund their operations. Like I'm very upset with America.
In fact, that's what it was the State Department, not the CIA, during the Iran-Contra thing. When they were bringing that in, I don't think they did it on purpose into the Black community, but that's where it got introduced.
Yeah.
Especially out where you're at, California.
Oh man, they screwed over. I mean,
That's so long ago, you probably don't even, other than heard of the Iran-Contra thing with Ollie North.
It was, yeah. I remember it being on television and not understanding what it was. Yeah.
Okay. What they were doing is they were getting missiles from Israel, selling stuff to Iran, taking the money they made from that to be able to give the arms and what they wanted to the Contras who were fighting the Sandinista government of Nicaragua. And where it all fell apart was a C-123, which is a Korean War transport airplane, cargo plane, where the door goes down, you can drive in the back. Today it would be considered
from all the cool action movies.
So what they did is the United States said we could give them humanitarian aid, no guns, no bombs, no nothing. And the Sandinistas managed to shoot down the C-123. A guy survived, the cargo master. He jumped out the back when he saw the missile go by. If you're a cargo master, you wear a parachute in case you push and you went out with it. He saw it, and the Sandinistas took all kinds of reporters out to the debris field of the wrecked airplane. And the only boots and uniforms they found in the airplane were on the two dead pilots, and the plane was filled with guns. The ones that was really bad was there were landmines.
Oh boy.
Landmines are not meant to kill, they're meant to maim.
Yeah.
Usually it's kids who get them. The war's over with. 5 years later, 10 years later, somebody ends up getting hurt.
Yeah.
So that's when somebody said, hey, a couple of reporters went and found out that all the money was coming from a corporation that they were still getting paid. Oh, they caught the guy. What was his name? It was a weird name. Hasselhoff, the guy, the cargo master that captured him. And this government wouldn't do anything for him. So he said, okay, really? And he ratted them all out, told them everything, where the money come from, everything. So, and that's when it all fell apart. And that's when they got out of North and all. I'm sorry if I got long-winded and off.
No, love it.
It doesn't sound like you're UFO. If we go for the UFO, I wouldn't mind going for the ride.
What's that? If they
You'll convince me when they actually, the Area 51 where they actually have one. There's been too many years, centuries where something could have crashed. And I don't if I had the technology to come that far, do I really have to come down and take a sample physically? I can't send a drone down to take a sample. Understand? Why?
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know if they use, what if they don't use the physics that, what if our laws of physics are actually wrong and they have different rules?
With the folding of the paper, like I said, where you put two.
Right. Someone should really figure that out, you
If they
know?
keep testing it and testing it and testing it to find it, the biggie is how fast can you go? If you think about it, the particles you're made of, the atoms you're made of are going that fast. So what happens if you get to that speed? Does it all come apart? Understand? If you can't go fast
Totally.
at 186,000 miles an hour, if you're going 186 mile an hour, pieces you're built out of, and then accelerate, well, that's saying physics says, no, you can't do that.
Hmm.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
now you're 360,000 miles, it doesn't work. Somebody said might prove, hopefully they can, but if you
Here's my only question for you, Mickey, is let's say there was some other intelligent race and they're not driving through space, they just have a different set of physics or whatever. Let's say they got here and they interacted with any secret entity, FBI, CIA, secret Navy, whatever, just one entity. Would that entity ever reveal the information that they got from their interaction?
give me a break.
Exactly. And
Somebody, everybody, the guy's going to get drunk and he's going to tell his wife or his girlfriend, or he's going to tell her and she'll keep it a secret. And then he gets caught cheating and she's going to rat him out.
yeah.
Can't keep a secret.
That's why,
What secret could you get than the Manhattan Project?
Yeah.
And the Russians had it. What was it, Roosevelt's or whatever, the family that they ended up executing because of the man and woman. I mean, how are you going to keep that a secret?
Ultimately, like to me,
aliens might be able to. You're going to tell me that if somebody finds something like that, oh my God, they're not going to tell anybody.
That's why I'm fascinated with deathbed confessions by people who were involved in any sort of secret.
I can see that. It would be interesting when you find out somebody did something.
And it's few and far between, but like I love watching those things because I'm like, man, who is this 90-year-old CIA entity like trying to say something before he dies? Like what is this oath that he has oath to humanity? Yeah.
How much money they stole. It isn't something where, oh gee, I ran into Christopher Columbus, No. You're also looking at a time thing. Let's go back to science, time travel. You're 3,000 miles away from me. You're moving right now, 1,000 miles an hour, maybe 800 miles an hour. 3.14 is the pi. Just go three. 3 times, let's make it 90,000. What is 3 times 90,000? No, it's 90 million.
270. Yeah.
Okay, million. That's how far you go in 1 year. So in 1 year, how far, and you're spinning at 800 miles an hour. And then our solar system that we're going around is going around the Milky Way galaxy. God only knows how fast that is. Okay, so where you're at, ideally, you're going thousands of miles an hour. You say, well, I don't, it's like if you get on the airplane, do you feel like you're going 630 miles an hour? No. So you're moving that fast. If you went back in time 1 hour or went ahead 1 hour, the planet would not be here.
Yep. You're in space. You're like going to vaporize.
Go back to a certain time, you might come out in that wall.
Within time travel, there's nothing that we have currently that we understand that can attach us to the moving objects. Yes, I agree.
And H.G. Wells really blew it with that one. Am I right? I mean, War of the Worlds was fine, but fucking Time Machine, come on, man, sitting in a chair.
I mean, listen. I understand what you're saying. To me, my rebuttal to it is, I feel like in the realm of any sort of time travel, interdimensional aliens, they're just kind of popping in and out, and it doesn't matter that they're popping into our space or not because they are doing their own thing. They're on their own path. They're on their own.
Maybe you can get into, we'll call it dimension. We got three. Maybe they're in the fifth or the sixth, or they're coinciding with our world. Where's the black matter coming from? Or dark. I'm sorry, dark matter, not black matter. So there's lots of arguments, and the scientists will go over right now.
And right now, it's just an anecdotal excuse to not accept the science, because in order to anything in my realm needs to have a different science behind it that we don't perceive.
Nobody 200 years ago would think you could fly. And we think nothing of it anymore. It's getting down to where you literally can put on the jetpack and be gone. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but for my reality, I like to knock on it. Not fun to think of. I'm not saying that what you're looking at, the UFO, when somebody sees that somebody hasn't come up with some kind of flying object, figured out how to take this movement we got to turn it into an energy that we could use to be able to support yourself some way to fly or move an object. I think that's possible. I really do think that's possible. To turn the magnetic field of this Earth. That's going another reason why you won't be able to do too much on Mars. They don't have.
Okay, hang on, because now you've elicited Tesla, right? And you've got a right. I mean, that was his
car. You're talking about the scientists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have an argument. Willie brings up Tesla all the time about how energy would be free if Edison didn't come along and steal all the stuff. Here's my theory, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Those Tesla coils would not provide us with any energy, right? It would be like having a AA battery or something. That's what I think.
I said it earlier. You didn't pay attention. Anytime anything moves, it's making electricity. So even if you had the wind blowing over, somebody's figured out how to pull that energy out. I'm not talking about using it, turning a rotor or something like that. When two things move by one another, they make energy. And this is what Tesla was saying. We are surrounded by the energy. Is what he wanted to come up with, whether he did or not, is to be able to figure out how to, with a simple term, plug into it, to turn it into an energy we could use. Can you go from an alternating current to a direct current, or from a direct current to alternating? Everything around us is, except for these things, is alternating current. Okay, got to remember, Edison wanted everything to be direct current. Do you know the difference?
It's been explained to me in the past, but I don't know the difference.
If you had everything direct current, you'd have to have a generator probably about every 10 blocks.
Right. The distance involved in keeping the energy big. I mean, they both kill elephants.
You can transport it a long way, literally hundreds and hundreds of miles. The big one is Edison wanted to prove, Edison went and cooked an elephant, electrocuted it.
Right. Yeah.
Proved how safe his direct current was.
Which is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I mean,
an elephant. There we go. Oh my God. Might have been better ways to do it than to kill some poor elephant.
It's so funny. It's the funniest thing you could do. I can't think of anything bigger than an elephant, I guess. So if I kill that, it'll prove what a funny thing to do.
So how alternating current can be dangerous as opposed to direct current. The problem with direct current it drops off as you get away. I'm getting into it. When we used to make landing lights, if we wanted to use a landing light in the middle of God's country, well, you couldn't put a battery here and run a light because it would get dimmer. So you'd have to put a battery here and run lights that away and that away. They still got dimmer, but you could run twice as much because the DC drops off. In your car, you don't notice it because your car is only 20 feet long? truck, what is it, total 60 feet? It's not enough to drop off power-wise. You get into alternating current, you can send power from here to you. What did Tesla come up with? There is a way. We have this gigantic motor that's a magnetic field around Earth. Somebody, sooner or later, is going to figure out how to tap into it. I mean, this great magnetic field, which, by the way, is half the reason why there's any kind of living space here. It protects us from all the cosmic rays.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Not
It's
just
a shield. It's a magnetic shield.
If you get to the moon, they're going to have to go underground. If they get to Mars, they're going to have to go. You can get out and get radiation, but you can't.
Right. I can't believe astronauts have not had more damage
No.
apparent.
No. The field goes out far enough where the International Space Station is. It's still within that field. They have a problem, but not like if you tried to move to the moon. The moon doesn't have a magnetic field either. There's no iron core. That's why they figured out it became something, ran into the Earth like 4.2 billion years ago, knocked a big chunk of it off. It all congealed back out there about 50,000 miles up. It moves 1 inch a year away from the Earth. Sooner or later, we'll lose it. I hope we're all around when that happens. That'll be like 5 billion years from now. It all fell back together. For a long while, according to scientists, there was a ring around the Earth, like Saturn has. That was the debris of what got knocked off. And when you hit the Earth was already formed enough that we had an iron core. It knocked a chunk off. When it knocked off, it didn't knock the core. It knocked the surface off. Then the Earth spun back, a lot of the ship landed back on it, and then you've had 4 billion years for it to all come back around again. Tuesday is going to be really tough on you guys. Really tough.
You only get 5 questions. Remember that.
And we haven't even talked about money yet.
Willie, you got any questions, or should we wrap this up?
I was just about to say, I've been motor mouthing all this time. I'm sorry if I've
Hey, no, Mickey, no need to apologize, man. You're a wealth of knowledge. It was great chatting with you, and I love hearing your insight on things from your perspective. And I love your UFO story. Like, it's all been great, man.
It's been really great because you've decimated all of Willie's beliefs, and now I get to be like, I told you so.
No. I'm still headstrong.
Okay.
I'm just keeping quiet in the shadows because I'm like, well, like I said, like my perspective is we project our intelligence onto anything that we perceive as intelligence. And if there was anything different or more than us, we just can't perceive it. We can't visualize it. And
I put on little shows. My whole life I've been performing when I'm alone, and I'm pretty sure it's for the fifth dimension beings who are just like hanging out with me that I can't see.
I can't wait till they find even one, for want of a better word, one living cell that isn't from here. That will be an incredibly awesome day. If they find life of any kind that's not here or from here, didn't hitch a ride on us to get there, and then they find it there, that will be incredibly amazing. Because what most people are thinking about has to be intelligent life, just to find any kind of life. And it doesn't have to be on our, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. It could be on a silicon or iron or whatever it is. Whatever it is, it will be incredibly amazing. And whether you're religious or not, it will just show you what an incredible thing we can have religious-wise. Yes, life is everywhere. Life doesn't have to be something that's intelligent. It could just be an amoeba. I'm just, putting our words to something that somebody.
Right, totally. And I picture like a planet-sized amoeba and going like, would we perceive it? Would we assign good versus evil onto it?
There might be a lot of religious people that might be upset to it, but I can now say the other way is they put what I can't think of, Galileo. They put him in home confinement because he said that the Earth went around the sun instead of I'm sorry, the sun went around the earth, and almost anybody else, if he hadn't been so famous, they probably would have executed him. So
Yeah, he was hiding out in yeah,
I'm
he
going to
was.
go. I'm going to go say that there's life out there somewhere. To say that it's intelligent enough to be able to travel here, nah, I'm not going to.
Well, explain the octopuses
It
then.
might be able to be intelligent enough, but the distance that you have to go becomes, and the time that it takes becomes almost impossible. This planet is only 4.6 billion years old. The galaxy is
Yeah,
like
I
almost,
you know,
so there are stars that went and they're gone, that were literally billions of years old, and there could have been a life form on there that made us look like, a one-celled animal. But they've
yeah,
been gone literally billions of years. You're
better
not
TV shows, better butter.
you're looking at not only the distance, but you're looking about the amount of time. So I'm hoping that they do find something. It'll end up having to probably be coming off of an asteroid or something like that, that they find something. And
Yeah.
they could very easily find things on Mars because it's been around a long time ago.
I mean, it's
And it,
crazy. We're at the point now where seeing is believing from the science perspective is we need something that just can go beyond any questionability. Until then,
one living, doesn't, I'll call it a cell. It might be silicon, but it has the ability to move and reproduce. That's what life is. If it
yeah.
can make another one of itself or divide some way, somehow, that will be incredibly amazing. And there'll be a whole lot of religious people that'll go bananas. And then there'll be a whole lot of people that'll say, yes, it proves God is real.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can agree with you and I can agree with him.
I'm in the same boat, man. I'm just waiting to
I'm
see what
not in touch
happens.
with either one.
It really is. We don't disagree. We just talk these things
Oh,
through.
that grin
So
on your face when you said what you said about him. I don't know if he's, so don't give me that bullshit. And I know the thing about it is I'm not taking his side of it. If there was something the other way around, he would give you the same shitty grin.
no, you really didn't mess it up at his worldview. You really didn't destroy it in any way. He's got it's I don't it's such a theology at this point. There's always
Listen,
another.
I'm brainwashing myself, and I know that that's happening.
No, but it's fine because it's just like, yeah, believe in whatever you want to believe in, man. I don't care. You know what I mean?
It comes down to all we are is just a bag. We're energy. We're turning sugar into electric and dividing. It's just a process of chemistry. To say that the chemistry isn't somewhere else, oh God, well, so when you start looking at all the things, like I said, what is down there at 20,000 feet or 30,000 feet under
I
the
mean,
ocean?
that's what I want. We've talked about space all night, but I just want them to look around the ocean for a little
I
bit.
mean, when that oarfish comes up and everyone's worried that the doomsday fish is happening, I'm going like, yeah, what the fuck made this thing come up?
Now, the oarfish have been coming up for centuries. You can read where in the hell did the name come from? It isn't something brand new. That oarfish has been around for a name for a long, long time. So, I'm not just saying that people are screwing things up with what we're doing to the environment on this
Sure.
planet. By the way, you don't want to get me going there, is because I am one of the things here. I'm looking at Dade County, Miami. It's so big, and they're literally tearing down 10 and 15-story buildings that are beautiful to put up a 40-story. There, if you see anything here in South Florida that's being built, they tore something down, literally, because they can't.
Uh,
There's not vacant land to be built on.
yeah.
Right.
They can't go into the Everglades. That's been stopped. Unless you're Alligator Alcatraz, but
And 40-story building is going to sink, right?
the ones that are having problems are the ones that are built on Miami Beach. Miami Beach is a barrier island, and most people don't even really think about it, but up the east coast of the United States is a string of barrier islands, all the way up. What the hell is New York? Okay, the city of. It's on an island. There is a string, and you have an intercoastal waterway that there are sections where there's no islands, but there's a great deal of the east coast of the United States. Miami Beach, Hallandale Beach, Hollywood Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach, Pompano Beach, Boca Raton, Jupiter, Palm Beach, Cape Canaveral, getting into the space. Those are all islands, a key, if you want. The Keys is part of that train. Okay. And what is underneath them is not the coral rock. By the way, it's oolite, Oolite, if you ever want the word for Scrabble, and both O's have to be capital.
Whoa, for real?
For real. Oolite is what they call coral rock. It's the sediment from when that was an ancient ocean. That's what's all underneath South Florida. Google Maps South Florida.
I've been looking at it.
One of the biggest industries in South Florida, most people don't even think about, and you probably don't think about it either, never even give it a thought, is mining. You ever think of Miami as mining? Start looking at that Google map. God doesn't make square lakes. What they did is they started harvesting the oolite. And the further west,
you can see them.
See all those lakes? Look at Miami International Airport. The expressway goes right through a lake that was a rock pit. By the way, when Miami International Airport was built, that was way out west of town.
Wow. So they're mining. Wait, what are they mining?
They gave 7 years ago, permits for 22 square miles of lakes, 85 feet deep. They pull the rock out of the ground, they crush it, you end up making things, and then they take and crush it down to the limestone in it, and they put it in a kiln and cook it to, I could be wrong, I think it's 2,800 degrees. It's a big temperature. There's a guy back in like 1870 that came up with it in England, and it's called Portland cement. Hello, is anything out there built out of cement? Your sidewalks, your buildings?
Everything. The buildings they replace every 20 years.
One of the largest industries in South Florida, people don't know, is cement.
Wow.
And you get a train.
Not that good.
Runs up the east coast of Florida, and you can sit there every night. It doesn't miss 100 cars of dirt go by. It's rock that they'll use to base before they put the asphalt down, or to mix with the asphalt to make it. It's everywhere. Your drywall, all of that stuff is made out of
crazy.
If you look up the word,
this is really crazy. They've built beaches and houses around these lakes, these square lakes.
They're lakes. They don't realize what your house is built on is a mine.
Yeah.
People think of a mine where you put the hat on and you go underground. No, when they make these mines, by the way, the drag line that they have, you can literally park your F-350 Ford truck in that drag line.
Oh, yeah.
In scoop, the trucks that they use to move it around can't drive on the highway. You ever seen those giant trucks where the tires are like that wide and like 8 feet tall? That's the trucks they use. There's not a lot of people because all the equipment is so big. It's not a real labor intense. They're not digging.
So what's gonna happen nearby where they've removed all of the oolite? Is it in danger of sinking?
No. What the problem with is you now opened it up to the surface because that's our aquifer. That's where our water comes from.
Got it.
People come down here from New York and they all brag about how good the water was up there. And the way I like to tell them is almost all the water in New York comes from reservoirs. You know what a reservoir is, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen all the little portable toilets all around the reservoir for the fish to shit in? No. So where are the fish shitting? In the reservoir. How many fish do you think are swimming through limestone?
Half of these are trick questions, by the way. So it's like, if these trick questions are on the test, I'm going to be upset.
Understand why South Florida water is so good. and they could be screwing it up by digging down to it and letting that water come to the surface.
Right, and exposing it, yeah.
Was going in from the highways and the dirt and the fertilizers and the poisons and everything else.
Yeah.
Dude, I know.
Which you guys have to be going through too. Where does it go? People don't look at it. The politicians are keeping you away from it.
Oh
There's
my God,
three
yeah.
sewage treatment plants here in Dade County. One of them does 80 million gallons a day. It was built in 1972. I wonder how big Dade County was back then. So they've got to be right at capacity. Virginia Beach, look it up on Google. It's right off of just south of the where the Port of Miami is. There's a sewage treatment plant there that was built in 1952. And it does 125 million gallons a day. And then there's one down by the Homestead Air Force Base, which is new. It was built in 92 that does 80 million. And the one down on Virginia Beach, it's only like a mile and a half to Brickell, which is the highest real estate next to Fisher Island, which is only a quarter miles north of the open air sludge ponds that they treat the sewage with. And when they're treating it, they do really good with it. And then they pump it into the ocean. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good for you.
Now, when they treat the sewage, you guys both look healthy, but do you know anybody that takes birth control, high blood pressure, cholesterol medicine, thyroid, whatever, and the fun drugs, and they put bleach in and soap in? Where does that all go?
Yeah,
They
fluoride.
take that out and they pump it into the ocean. So you think you want to do the good thing and do the right thing and we'll eat fresh fish. Well, I fly out of Opelika Airport and there's 1 or 2 days, like that day I took the little boat to Bimini. There's 1 or 2 days where the water's perfectly flat and you can see anything. And if you look on Google Earth and you have the map on it, not the actual satellite picture, you'll see that if you get about a mile and a half out, 2 miles off of Miami, it drops off 5,000 feet into the Gulf Stream. We'll call it the continental shelf. They have a pipe that's about 200 feet down and it dumps from the north one up here, 80 million gallons a day.
Yep.
And when you go and you fly over it, now you can see it. And I have to, kind of hard to draw it here. The water goes east, the Gulf Stream goes north at 6 miles an hour. So when you're close to the edge, it's not as fast. Out in the middle, it's 6 miles an hour. So the current takes it out, and then as it goes out, it's starting to catch it, and it gets wider and wider and wider, and it goes north to everybody up north. Okay.
Yeah.
What's really neat about it is you see all the fishing boats around it because the fish, the little ones, or whatever the amoebas are eating that, and something eats them and something eats them until you get up to that really nice grouper that you caught.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that it's eating shit, it also ate the high blood pressure, the cholesterol, your birth control.
Yeah. All the things that can't go away with water.
Okay. We happen to have a really nice place to dump it. Where does Las Vegas dump their shit? Where are the places that are inland dumping it?
Yeah, back to the river. Totally.
Somebody's river, and that river goes downstream, downstream, downstream.
Yeah. We're from Colorado, and we know that we've always had water reclamation, and all of our sewage went right back into the river.
Yeah, but they go down to the outfall line and pull up a pitcher and say, I can't wait to drink this as the shit settles out of it. I can remember 1,000,000 years ago when they built the sewage treatment plant, which is now gone. They made it into a lift station for when they built the big one. North Miami had their own sewage treatment plant, and they dumped it into the canal. Same canal that I lived on. It's on 137th Street. We were on like 126, so it was only 11 blocks north. And in the canal, the current took it in and out. And then they built a dam and put the sewage in there. And they said that you would be able to drink the water. It's going to be so pure and be the state of the art. Okay. So what my dad did was about that big then. He took a tape recorder to the council meeting. Okay. And recorded them saying that. Asked for their names so that they say it. Okay. And a year later, my father took 3, notary publics. 3 notary publics to watch my father take pictures, like a tea pitcher of water that he could seal, out of the outfall line, and went with the 3 people that sit there and witnessed it and went to the council meeting and put one in front of the 5 councilmen and the mayor. Take a drink.
Drink it.
Right.
He said it was going to be pure enough to drink. Said you ought to let it sit a little so it settles out, sip off the top. None of them took a drink. I remember him doing it. I was probably maybe 12 at the time. That's what's going into the ocean. I have a friend whose husband was the head guy at the North Treatment Plant. And once I get through with all my thing, the last year he was there, they didn't treat him really nice. So he doesn't mind doing this, telling the real story. When he was there, he was really proud of the fact that they kept it. I'm going to make this number up, like 50 parts per million they were allowed to do. He would always come in at like 30. So he was under what was allowed, but now wants the 30 plus what's mixed into it. By the way, I always like them. They call them mice. That's where the tampons and the prophylactics float up and they have to skim that off the top. I thought I'd throw that in there. A little sex, never hurts to sell. See, now you got me talking about sewage.
Well, Mickey, man, honestly, listen, it is time to let you go. It's been so great meeting you, great chatting with you.
So I end up with a shitty subject, and you're going to run me out. Okay.
Yeah. What is there anything you want to plug? Where do you want to have our listeners find you? All the things. You got your book, you got your audio.
Oh yeah. Pitch all the products.
I have a little 22-page script that I would like to see some school take it. I made it. It's got 5 actors, 1 location. By the way, the location is still there. And you have 4 voices. It's something that was happening. And while that something was happening, something else happened. So you have 1 bad guy, 2 innocent people, and 2 evil people. And this particular night, evil found out what bad was all about. You end up rooting for a bad guy. And the reason I liked it is I have 100 stories that would take, if you made it in a movie, and I have several scripts, that would cost millions of dollars. When you got airplane crashes and boat chases, coming home in a hurricane, all that's big money. This thing here, I'm sure the actors would be free. The other thing, if the person wanted to do it, the 2 innocent people could be of color, the 2 evil people could be white. And most of the time when you see that, it's the other way around.
Right.
It's a really interesting story. And it's only 22 pages. That's every page in the script is equivalent to 1 minute on average of screen time. 22 minutes is a half-hour TV show. There's 8 minutes of commercials. I would love to give it to an acting class, a college, somebody that's doing film, so that wants to do it. I believe it can all be done one day on a site. You could do it as a period piece, or you could do it as right now. There's not a whole lot of money into it. How hard would it get to be to get the 5 people? 1 girl, 4 guys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You should reach out to
reaching out. So if anybody
yeah, well, listen, if you're a filmmaker and you need a script, what contact you by email, or how would that go?
Yeah, my email is therealmickeymunday@gmail.com. That's the real MICKEYMUNDAY.
Right. Yeah.
Word.
Great. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of creative listeners, and we have people in a bunch of different areas trying to become filmmakers and stuff like that. So yeah, if you need a script, hit them up.
And I read the script, and it was a nice slice of life, knowing your story, going like, oh shit, it was cool to dive into your world and then see something else happen.
I'd probably get into a whole lot of things. And people are interested in that Miami Vice time.
Yeah.
Almost everybody that's come up with a book, Indestructible, is a young lady I know who wrote a book, Julie Larson. It's about 500 pages. I'm 100. Max Mermelstein, The Man Who Made It Snow, and then like 80 pages of it. the American Desperado, Paramount bought that, and I never understood why they didn't make it because they already had Mark Wahlberg was going to play the part of John Roberts, and Leonardo DiCaprio was going to play the part of Mickey Munday. And by the way, people every once in a while they see that online and ask me about, what do I think about Leonardo DiCaprio playing me, and I always tell them I think he's handsome enough.
Yeah, sure. You should be so lucky.
They've aged out, but they wanted to make it a buddy movie, and it would about John's book was about his life, and what they wanted to make the movie of was that crazy 80s period of time.
Right.
Liked about it, he was one of the most evil people I've ever met. I'm the exact opposite. How did we manage to get along and not have problems? I kind of calmed him down, and he kind of steered me around to it. So,
yeah,
I never understood. They had the director, they had the script, but it made me realize that. And by the way, they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for this.
Right. Yeah. No, it's for talent on that level. I wonder where it's at now. Probably somebody bought the option. I'll bet it's still alive out there somewhere.
Amazon, iTunes. Tall Tales, Mickey Munday. It's a spoken word CD with 5 stories. By the way,
how many stories do you have?
Oh, hundreds.
Okay.
Go on and on. The UFO is on the Tall Tales. And
that's cool.
The 5 people I just told you about, that's the last story on that particular. It's a spoken word CD. And again, I want to say it's really, really, really good, but what makes it good is the guy who put it together.
But now you're just being humble. It feels like contractually you signed something where you have to say that now.
No. I met Carlos at Steve's Pizza one night. Somebody asked, this was right after the documentary came out, and somebody wanted an autograph and a picture taken. And he was sitting at another table, and it was like 3 a.m. And he goes, do you ever get tired of that? And I'm going, how hard is it to go like this? And I'm never going to say no, because I don't want anybody ever to say no to me if I end up meeting somebody. And I don't understand why they think I'm famous. Infamous, yes. Plus, if you're taking a picture and I got, your girlfriend or wife here, I'm going to say, take your time. She just patted my ass. And that's the picture we're going to get is everybody laughing. Or if you're standing behind me and say, hurry up, you just goosed me, and somebody's going to laugh. So Carlos said, hey, you get tired of that? And I said, no. And I said what I just said. He said, do you ever think about doing any recording? And I told him I couldn't carry a song and a wheelbarrow. And that area of North Miami has, at that time, a whole lot of recording studios. They still have a really famous one, the Hit Factory is there. It is an incredible place in the history of that. You walk in, it's like, oh my God, the people that are there that have been there. Anyway, he told me that he has a studio. I'm going, nah, he said, do you ever think of doing spoken word? And I'm going, yeah, okay, I can tell a story. I said, children's story. I go, my name really don't go with children's story, no way. But I told him I had a couple stories and I had them written down. So I went out to the truck. My pizza slice was already cold. So I went out and gave him one, and he kind of leafed through it and said, hey, come up to the studio. Gave me the address. And I'm thinking it's a come on for money. He said, I don't know what the money would be. Don't worry about the money. If this works, we split it.
And then it was Emmy nominated.
It cost us nothing but our time.
Wait, so, did it win or was it nominated?
Gee, that's a long time ago.
No, oh, I thought this was the Emmy one.
Grammy.
Yeah, this is the Tall Tales.
Right.
It's on iTunes and Amazon.
Okay.
I don't remember the date.
Here's what you have, though. Here's what you have. Have you written down these stories?
Yeah, they're all in here too.
Because here's what I think it is. I think it's an animated. I think it's an animated series. You do like an adult animation kind of like version of it, where all these stories you have is kind of like the episodic part of it, and then there would be this sort of like bigger arc about, I mean, where the character goes and stuff like that. I think like, yeah, if you had The
Adventures in Ep is a really good story. It's about going to the Bahamas with the young lady and finding 800. Let me finish the thing on Carlos. I sent a text message to a friend of mine, said, hey, could you look this guy up? That was like 4 a.m, so I don't hear back from him until like 8 when he got out. When Carlos told me he had the studio, he also said he had a Grammy.
Oh, Grammy. That's what it was.
Okay, so I told him that. So he sent me back a text at 8 o'clock in the morning, and he's a good friend, like most good friends, they're assholes, like you two guys are here, okay?
Sure.
And what he did was he sent me back, he said, this is a text, he lied. He doesn't have a Grammy. I'm going, that sucks. I would still want to do it just to be doing something different, right?
Right.
So he waited 15 minutes for me to stew on it. Sent me back another text. He said he lied. He doesn't have a, now the A is a capital letter in quote. He doesn't have a Grammy. He has 7 Grammys and 4 Latin Grammys. Get your fucking ass up there. Carlos now has like 12 Grammys and 7 Latin Grammys.
What? Wait, does he record? Are the Latin Grammys are spoken word also?
What he does, well, he works. He's contract work with Telemundo, which is big here, by the way.
Sure, yeah.
Their headquarters is here. By the way, I just did a 4-month internship out there. Amazing place, amazing people.
Do you speak Spanish?
No, that's what's really neat. Everything in front of the camera is Spanish. Everything behind the camera is English, including.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's NBC or something like that.
Yeah.
And you got, let's say, 5 people in front of the camera, and there's like 1,200 people are employed there. The place
right. We get ads for Telemundo, like job opportunities, and I've always been like, well, I don't know Spanish, so
you don't have to have Spanish.
Good to know.
There was 575,000 square feet, not counting the 2 giant warehouses behind the place. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They can survive 2 months all by themselves. They have their own electricity, their own gas, their own food. They can
like a college campus or something.
And of the 11 department heads that I met, 8 of them were women. And they weren't there because, they were attractive, but they weren't there because they're attractive. Each one of them was brilliant of what they were able to do. Most of the time in the entertainment business, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And almost everybody there, like the carpenter shop, the welding shop, that's my end of things, building things, they weren't craftsmen, they were artists. It was like everywhere I went there, I was amazed. And I was also amazed at how big it is. And the one room where they, you call it the prop room, they had 1,200 pairs of women's shoes, 800 pairs of men's. They had like 300 hats. Okay. I'm not making this number up because that was part of my job, was to go resort it to be able to get, the best way to do inventory is go count. So I'm going off the truck. I went, by the way, I did the thing with Carlos, talked me into going to recording, and I ended up recording probably 100 stories.
Shit. So they're recorded.
Yeah. We only put out the 2, the Tall Tales. The Adventurous Nymph one is really unique. It's because it's a spoken word with the soundtrack and everything of the story. And I went, because I only lived 10 blocks from Barry University, and like most colleges and universities, probably more than 60% of the students are female. Barry also has a marine biology that they teach. They also have a dive, which is going to be a marine biology, you better learn how to dive. And they also have a program to teach you how to dive as a business. So this is about going to the islands, and the character is a school teacher, and also during the summer, a dive instructor. For real, that's how I met the woman. So I tried to ask several of the young ladies, and I know a whole bunch of them, I'm a dirty old man, to write the same exact story. I had it written. I also had as a spoken word to use. Give me the same story from the woman's point of view. I couldn't find anybody. I mean, they gave me stories, but they weren't good. So another young woman I know, I've always called her my adopted daughter, said she would like to try it. So for like 2 weeks, she picked my mind on diving, because it was also a boat that when I had my boat factory, how the boat was built and why and this and that. And about she really went into the details, and then she gave me the story. And I wasn't prepared for what she gave me. And the story follows my story point for point. But what she did that she didn't tell me she was going to do, she made it triple X. I never knew I was okay to go through this year. So it's because she's never seen this. So at first I was like, oh my God, the story's good. I'll just edit this out. And that's when, what was it? 50 Shades of Grey first hit.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much now erotic that's become mainstream. So what we did is we made it a 2-disc spoken word. And what do you call it when you read it? It's another disc that you actually read. So it's didn't record her story. So you get it as either way. You want it as an erotic story. And it turned out to be pretty good. The reason why it's called The Adventurous Nymph, there's one little place in it where the young lady's running down the beach, pulling several bales of pot behind her, and she has taken off all of her clothes except for her dyed booties and her dye hat, because it was easier to pull it than to try to carry it. Somebody left 1,200 pounds of pot on the beach, and we watched them do it. I'm telling you part of the story. And then when they left, because they didn't have, either they had more pot than what they thought or somebody didn't show up, they left it. And we went and took 815 pounds.
Crazy.
It's really nice. Free. I think I'll do that.
So wait, okay, say that one again. What's the title of that one again so people can check it out?
When I'll get off the boat because the boat was beach. I'm loading it, and she's continuing to bring the stuff from the other side of the island in the Bahamas. And I look down the beach and I can't figure out what is that. And then what I realize, it's her, Jazzy. She's running because when she gets the stuff moving, it moves easier. And what she did was she put the visqueen that they used to cover it, she put it around her shoulders and put a bale over here and a bale here in the
Right.
instead of trying to carry one.
Right.
Okay. But when she put it, because she's running and also there's a nice breeze, it's blowing in the wind. It looks like gossamer wings. It looks like a nymph.
Yeah.
Down the beach. And
so this is a love story.
Built, very athletic. This thing, I'm looking down the beach and I'm going, I love my job. By the way, when she turned around and left, because she told me to keep packing, and she looked just as good.
Okay, so the front counts.
So she managed to take the whole story and add the push-ups and the sit-ups and the deep. By the way, like most women, she was really fond of tongue lifts. He got it, you didn't.
I didn't. My earbuds died, so I'm struggling.
Okay? Most women like tongue lifts. They like doing push-ups and sit-ups, but the tongue lifts they really do.
Oh, tongue lifts, gotcha.
I can bench pound almost 120 pounds with my tongue.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I didn't get dirty.
What?
And I didn't get dirty. I mean, really. You wanted to hang up on me over an hour ago. So, you turn me on?
Okay, well now is the time because now my actual technology, you've outlasted my actual technology. So I'm losing the option to even keep recording. But thank you again for being here and telling us the stories.
Can I ask one thing?
Sure.
Can we do this again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And sooner or later, I'm going to have a podcast. I would love to have you guys on.
I think
Awesome.
we would do that in a heartbeat. But also, who owns the records, the recordings of the stories?
Carlos still has it, and any of the money that is supposed to come to me goes to Children's Hospital in South Miami.
That's awesome.
That's not going to work for Amazon.
No. When the money goes to him, whatever is supposed to come to me out of the contract, it isn't from Amazon. Amazon don't do that. It's all through Carlos.
Okay.
You would have to pay if you were talking about to buy it. You have to buy it from Amazon and iTunes.
Oh no, I'm talking about the unreleased stuff.
Release what?
The unreleased recordings of all your stories.
Oh, that no, that's all Carlos and mine.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, we'll get a scheme going here.
Okay, have fun with it. I'm sorry I talked too much. Don't tell Murphy that.
All right,
Oh,
man. Well,
man, this was
thanks
great.
again.
Remember what Murphy said. What does it say here?
Let them interrupt. And then what? Wait, what was the second one?
Is that he knows how much I
Oh,
talk.
text him.
I'll
Text.
text Murphy if a problem, but let them interrupt. In other words, I get long-winded, too many stories, and I can jump around. Think about it. We talked about literally shit.
Well, that's kind of like what I learned is to just let you go, and it comes back around. So that's why we didn't interrupt that much. It's just kind of it's a fascinating. I mean, we're kind of hanging on your words. So we'll definitely have you back. Don't get self-conscious about how much you talk.
If you ever need anything here that you need to find a location or anything, I'll be more than glad to help you guys.
Yeah,
Great.
Florida.
Would love to go out there. Yeah, right.
Not me. I don't want to go to Florida. Yeah. I do have to spend some time in the Panhandle every once in a while, but that doesn't count.
The only problem with Miami now is it's become just way too expensive.
Yeah.
So
We're dealing with the same stuff out here. Everything is going crazy, man.
it's a beautiful, beautiful city. The people here, because you have so many people from Central and South America and a lot of the Europeans. One of my neighbors is a Ukrainian, he's here as a refugee. So you have so many people and a diversity. It was really nice. And,
All right. Well, if we ever come visit Murphy, we'll go out. You can take us out.
Okay. Don't tell him I talk too much.
Gonna tell him that. All right. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Fun.
All right. Bye.
Good night, sir.
Real life sci-fi.